You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
As we attack camp each and every year, it's just about us. And I try to tell those guys every day, your spot is earned, but I really never talk about spots because ultimately all those guys need to be the best version of themselves and then let the coaches, ultimately decide on the depth as we get later into the process.
Really simple for the players to learn, allows them to play fast, allows them to play violent. There's things that carry over. The terminology is great for the guys. It's uniform. It's a really good system. I'm really excited about the future of it and excited to see what it looks like.
To be totally honest with you, yes. And if we play the game today, I really don't know which guy will go out there first. But I do feel like we have a group of guys where multiple guys can go out and compete and play to the standard that we want them to play.
Good. Oh, geez. Whoa, wow, that is way too hot. Can we turn that down a little bit?
Why don't you turn yourself down? We have a little knobs over here.
I'm down.
Come on.
Is that not my output? That's just in my ears.
That's just your ears. Yes.
My God.
Shane works the out. We work the in. Or maybe it's the I don't know.
I'll say it might be the out. I don't know what's happening. That was loud as hell.
It's still pretty crusty in my ear. I got to turn this down, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, it's all right. Good morning.
We're working with a new board. Technology's great. We're fixing all the problems.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. Hopefully, the new board solves some problems while apparently causing others.
That's fine.
It'll be fine.
We'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen?
I mean, we could all die.
People are saying that Ravi's yelling this AM.
Well,
it's fine.
It's because as soon as I got in here, Austin starts yelling at me about Super Sixes.
Well, no.
As soon as we got here,
you're getting me triggered already, and I hated this.
As soon as we got here,
no, because we're gonna have a just a 21 round bout here today. It's what I feel like we're gonna have.
We're gonna have a knockdown drag out.
Beat his ass.
Thank you, Rico. Hey, Rico, am I too mean to you?
No.
That was a very funny
sometimes
shot to get from you.
Well, it's funny because Kel Jam's noticed it. Other people in the chat have noticed it. My wife has noticed it. She was just like, Austin's kind of a dick now.
No. So Ravi explained this well.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. He's always been this much of a dick. Just most of the time it was in your little producer's office by yourselves and no one else heard it. So everybody that's hearing it all the time, like it's like you just mic'd Austin up for 3 extra hours a day. The behavior has not changed. The method of delivery has changed.
So what you're saying is we're just letting everybody know how abusive Austin is to me.
Well, no, I think it's all in good fun and friendship.
As I found out, and I actually kind of want this to be added into the Discord if you could add as like a sidebar, the certified Austin haters. Listen, 3 more hours of me really ain't that good. So, I can agree with that. A lot of people in my life would agree with that.
I enjoy it.
Thanks, Rico. Rico, how was your weekend?
It was great. It was good.
We did miss you on Saturday.
He said Austin is delightful, unlike the Knicks fan.
That's tough.
I don't know what I did.
I wish that. I don't wish this upon anyone, but it would be nice if I could pull that's racist card, which Rico can and I can't. So
that I can.
Mm-hmm.
How was your weekend?
It was great. I spent some time with some parent friends.
Is that like daycare thing? Or what,
yeah,
what do you mean?
It's like my kids' friends' parents.
Oh, are you into the part of your life where
God, that sounds terrible.
You don't have friends anymore? You just have like your kids'
but
parents are your friends?
No, they're actually our friends. So that's cool. I do have friends outside of them. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Or is it just by proxy that they are your friends?
I mean, that's probably how it started. But
okay,
it has grown. We are now friends.
I got to meet all of Ravi's friends
Not
on
all
Saturday,
of them, but a chunk of them.
Yeah,
that looked like a blast. How was that?
They're a wild and eclectic group. I'll say that
it is.
Yeah.
There's a wide range of people.
And weirdly enough, you're going to be shocked by this, Rico. They all love Millard North. They couldn't not talk about it.
Not
like every
all
10
of
minutes, something about Mustangs was brought up.
Only like half of us went there, but the half that went there is a very, very, very devoted group. Well, so Jermaine coached there for a while,
right?
Nina's dad is in the Millard North Hall of Fame,
which you're not.
Nope, we're working on it.
Piece by piece. Can he put in a good word?
He might. No, he has passed. He's no longer with us. So,
oops,
it's okay. It's been
my bad.
Yeah. She makes dad jokes, so it's probably okay to accidentally.
She's also an adult, so it's
it's a little better.
He can put some good words in from the other side.
Ooh,
That's true.
there we go.
You know, maybe
With some science.
sprinkle little blessings from heaven.
But you want to be, I'm assuming you want to be in the Hall of Fame while you're still on this earth.
That'd be great.
I don't think the Millard North Hall of Fame will hit the same if you're watching from above.
No,
or below. Who might have judged?
I was going to say that above is definitely not true.
That is ambitious
Anything's possible.
and optimistic. No, it was fun, and we invited Rico. He didn't come, which was he did his
okay.
best.
I had the plans before you invited me.
Okay, sure.
Why didn't you say that then?
I did.
I
Why does
also
everybody have plans?
I don't remember that.
believe I sent a text like 2 weeks ago, being like, "Hey, we're gonna do this on the 22nd." So
That is true. And I think Rico also then said that he had plans.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He doesn't make plans
You
that
can
far
check
out.
just immediately. You said it, and
Check
I said,
the
why
tape.
does everybody have plans on the 22nd?
I thought you were just being facetious. If I'm being honest, I thought you were just doing Rico
Well,
stuff.
and to be fair, Rico, it's not like Ravi's birthday was this past weekend. This has been apparently the Ravi birthday month that we have to celebrate for extended
Oh.
periods of time.
We
Hot
just have to
Danger-
celebrate the whole month.
Yeah, 100%. I'm one of those. Hot Danger says more likely Miller North Hall of Fame or heaven. Definitely Miller North Hall of Fame.
Miller North Hall of Fame,
Without a
100%.
doubt.
Would you sell your soul to get in the Millard North Hall of Fame?
No, I wouldn't. I will. I may have sold my soul just to be a jerk all the time. That might be kind of what I sold it for, which probably isn't worth it. But
If you got to the pearly gates
yeah,
and God said, I can either take you in right now or I can posthumously have you put into the Millard North Hall of Fame, but you got to go to hell.
no, because the point of being in the Hall of Fame is to enjoy it while you're alive. So I would not take that deal.
How long
What if
can
it
you
gives you, like,
enjoy being in a Hall of Fame, though? Because the real part of being in the Hall of Fame is the induction.
Oh no, I would milk that thing for all it was worth.
What? How?
I mean,
Do they give you like a blue card where you can go and do events for free?
social media bios, the whole thing. I would
I
just,
say,
No,
ask
North
Jordan-
Hall of
ask
Famer.
Jordan Larson. She's in like 12 Hall of Fames.
that's
That is
She
true.
would know.
She's probably tired of getting that call. They're like, Jordan, we've now. I'm good. Thank you, though.
You're like this.
That's
Hold on. I
Yeah.
think you have to reach a certain level
Yeah.
of Hall of Fame for me to show up for this.
But the first one has to be a thrill, right? The first Hall of Fame you get put into, like that's
Yeah.
great. Then after that, it's not necessarily downhill, but they all kind of remain a bit stagnant. Unless
She's
you're
got what?
Unless you're
high
like
school-
elevating Hall of Fame,
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
'cause
if
she's
you went
got
from
her high schools, college, USA volleyball, national high school. I feel like there's some other ones that I can't think of right now, but I,
I
know
mean, she'll
that there's
probably put herself into Love, is my guess. So she'll probably start there.
whenever they have a Hall of Fame.
Yeah. You can. I mean,
probably.
there's no parameters on Hall of Fames. You can really do it whenever
yeah, you really
want to.
can.
True.
I mean, look at Major League Baseball; they're just doing
Yeah.
whatever they
I
want.
mean, famously,
the first-
the Carolina
I'm so-
Panthers owner built a statue of himself outside the stadium. So, I mean, you can
That's
really
no
do
doubt.
anything you want.
How does the first class of a Hall of Fame work?
We
Like if it's a new Hall of Fame, like you just said, like the
Yeah.
Love or like the
Mhm.
MLV Hall of Fame, like how does the first class work?
I'm sure that they're probably waiting an appropriate amount of time until each player is likely retired or coach or contributor or whatever, and then they probably induct them and they set their standard then based off of that first class. That's my guess.
like X-Men.
No,
That was good.
there's
That
no
was good.
X-Men Hall of Fame because they
Oh,
die.
speaking of first, this is the tangent thing. So baseball waited. I mean, I don't think their first class went in until like the 40s.
Mhm.
So they had you have to wait a certain amount of time of your sport existing, so you have like a good group.
Yeah.
It can't just be like, hey, here were the best players the first 2 years we had in the league. That doesn't make any sense. But I was also that reminded me of something I saw on SportsCenter this morning. So
You watch SportsCenter in the morning?
I turn it on while I'm getting ready.
Okay.
Just make sure I didn't miss anything big.
Yeah. You're not watching the 6:00 news like me?
No. The morning
piss
news
you off today?
No.
Even-
I'm very happy with the 6:00 news.
the morning news even less hard hitting than the 5 p.m. news.
That's why I like it.
It's like it's the good news stories.
I'm just gonna start watching 6 and 10. That's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna hit the front and the end.
Oh, okay. Good for you, man.
Is Sam McKewon coming up? We good?
You got 50 more minutes, bud. So I was watching SportsCenter this morning. They're like, I don't remember what the achievement was. This is the first time this has happened since 1890 with the Brooklyn Wanderers.
Is this a baseball thing?
Yes, and I was
Wasn't
like,
it someone lead lead-off home run
oh, and a
and,
walk off,
and a walk-off? And
two leadoff home runs and a walk off
Yeah,
in like
something
back-to-back
like that,
days
yeah.
or something. And it reminded me how just like goofy ass, especially baseball records are, and how, we were talking about Hall of Fames. We just cannot take some of this stuff seriously. Like literally, Cy Young was pitching. He got his 511 wins. It's like, yeah, it's like the Brooklyn Wanderers, but we're like, but Barry Bonds can't come in because he may have used steroids. Like clearly the best baseball player we've ever seen, but he can't come in because he, along with everyone he was playing against, was using steroids. But most of those guys can come in, but Barry Bonds' head got too big, so he can't be in. But Cy Young was playing against people called the Brooklyn Wanderers, who literally were plumbers. Like this isn't like a
What's
John
not against plumbers, man?
No, it's nothing. It's just they're not professional baseball players.
You don't think plumbers can be good baseball players?
Like, the scene in 300 where it's like, what's your occupation? And he's like,
I'm a potter.
I'm an artist. What's your occupation? I'm a carpenter. And they're like, Spartans, what is your profession? Like this is,
and they just chant,
oh yeah.
oh.
Which
And
I
they're
was
like, that's not really an answer.
That's
Yeah,
not a
but
job.
Thank you though. Yeah.
Appreciate it though. That is the difference between
you.
That's what Barry Bonds versus like some of these Brooklyn Wanderers playing ass players is in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, how can we take anything that happened before World War II seriously when people were just like, well, I don't know, this guy Rube Wardell needs to play some baseball because isn't that the little guy?
You're anti-Wardells?
No, I love Wardell.
Wardell, interesting. You almost put yourself in a corner there.
I would never. Wardell Stephen. I'm anti-Rubes.
To be fair, even at the time, Wanderers is a terrible name.
Very bad.
Very bad. Because it implies that you don't know where you're going.
They probably were literally named that because they didn't have a home stadium. I would guess. They were
that's good.
They were very practical.
I would have went Nomad. Wouldn't have went Wanderer.
They were very practical with their nicknames back then. Like literally the White Sox and Red Sox are because of the color of their socks.
Interesting. The more you know.
What was that, Rico?
Shout out to barnstorming.
Barnstorming was actually cool. Omaha used to have a really big barnstorming stop down on Vinton Street. In 1927, the Babe Ruth and a couple other of the Murderers Row Yankees played in Omaha.
Yeah. Murderers Row is a great nickname.
Oh, it's terrific. Way better than the Wanderers.
Why didn't you just steal that nickname and just say, we are the Washington Murderers Row? That's much better. Steal
That
good
doesn't really
nicknames.
roll off the tongue. You'd have to.
I
Stop
don't
with
care.
Murderers,
It's better than
and I don't
Wanderers.
think you want to call yourself that?
Yeah, it's too many syllables. Murderers Row is 2 syllables.
We're
too
the
many
Brooklyn
syllables.
Murderers.
I like that. That's not bad.
For a long section of their history, probably would have fit. I mean, to be fair, Brooklyn has not always been the nicest part of town.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's been a lot of crime there.
That's why they have Spider-Man.
Huh?
And now there's not.
I think there's less than there
Well, yeah,
used
if the
to be.
Knicks stopped winning so many championships.
There's been some gentrification there that I think has stopped some of the crime.
A couple of yogurt shops.
Yeah, a lot of yogurt shops.
Do you think people have forgotten the Knicks won the title?
I do all the time, constantly. I'm just like,
I haven't.
was there a basketball season?
I
this
keep
year?
seeing Mom
2-month
Dami
anniversary.
like edits, so I just
was
it's
the
the
2-month
2-month
anniversary
anniversary.
last week.
Gotcha.
Oh, so you're one of those.
What with this? 100%.
He has 3 kids. Of course, he celebrates the little things.
Hey, Miles turned 1.
That's also not being mean. That's just me pointing something out.
You just
Also, KJ turns age redacted at the end of this month.
So you're going to name one of your kids, but not all of them?
I can't say the number. I don't
Oh,
know.
out of
Daniels,
respect.
Yeah, out of respect.
Out of
Yeah,
respect
Jake
for
Daniels.
Jay-Z.
Yeah, good move.
He turns
It's
age
good.
redacted.
He
on the
turns
30th.
4 plus 1.
Yeah, that one.
Is the Jaden Daniels thing more ridiculous, or is the Deshaun Watson asking people not to boo him thing more ridiculous? Did you see this?
I think the
Deshaun
Jaden Daniels
Watson-
one is more ridiculous. Deshaun's is stupid.
Deshaun
Like,
in his
people don't-
press conference was like,
This feels personal,
yeah,
guys.
he was like, why are they making it a personal thing? I don't know, because you are a bad person? Like,
because
I don't
you've
know.
settled more civil suits than you have thrown touchdown passes since you got to Cleveland. That's a real number, by the way.
That's crazy.
He's in the 20s for civil suits. He's at 19 for touchdown passes.
He should just say, I'm injured, and just walk off into the distance. He should be fine, right?
He has
There's no
made-
reason for him to still be doing this.
He has made $12 million for every touchdown pass he's thrown for Cleveland.
It's a pretty good number. Imagine if he threw more of them.
I mean, that number would go down. Maybe that's why he hasn't. He's like,
Well,
I got to keep my ratio up.
That's right.
You know,
he
it's like-
knows that'll be a great statistic.
He's like following people on social media. He's like, ooh, if I follow too many people, my ratio's off. I got to cut back a little bit here. That's what he's doing with touchdowns. He's like, I can't throw so many touchdowns. Got to hand it off to somebody.
The Cleveland Browns are just something, man.
It's unbelievable.
They find the most interesting
They were
ways.
trying-
Listen, they're trying to find the way to stay like in the just the news cycle, because they sent their tight end, they cut him so that way he could go to LSU.
Yeah,
they do a sign and trade or something. That was crazy.
Wright did the first ever sign and trade from
With
Cleveland
LSU.
from Cleveland back to college.
Did I get that wrong? From what I understand and reading it, it sounds like he was cut so he could go to LSU. Is that right?
The timing of the cut was so that he could go through the waivers process. And there's still the funniest thing about this is he could still get claimed off of waivers in the NFL.
Somebody should.
That would be hilarious.
Teach him a lesson.
Just be like,
what if it's the Saints? Like, hey, you see Baton Rouge down the road? That could have been you, buddy. Ooh, so close. Get ready to learn practice squad.
I don't think anybody's ever been like, I'd rather live in Baton Rouge than New Orleans. I don't think that's a thing.
A multitude of reasons why I could never be an NFL GM. One of them is I would sign him because I think it would be funny.
Although,
just to be petty.
Yes.
I don't know how the waivers process works in this situation because he doesn't technically have to sign if he's claimed.
Oh,
I don't think.
But if you
like they own
his rights, right?
They would own his professional rights, so he couldn't sign with another professional team.
But then how would that work?
But but
then he would be ineligible for college because he would be...
No, he's not under contract because he didn't sign.
But then he couldn't be drafted. He would just go back into...
Yes. So when he's done at LSU, that team would still own his rights, I believe.
So he could play college football this year and just immediately go back to whatever NFL team has his rights?
Theoretically,
that can't be right.
I think
it says when you're claimed off waivers.
Nothing makes sense. It doesn't. None of it makes sense. We just need we just need one judge in Louisiana just to say, you know what, let him do what he wants. He'll be fine.
When you get claimed off waivers, they claim your contract. So if he had already signed a contract with the Browns, somebody claiming him off waivers is just taking that contract.
Oh, so then
he doesn't have to sign anything. That's
so the contract is still in. Okay,
yeah,
but then he still. How would that work if he goes to the league next year?
Well, however long.
Or I guess honestly, he'll probably just be in college football forever. He's going to be 42 years old. Just LeBron James does this thing
like that guy from NCTA.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. Sports is weird, man.
The hair just ran further back every year, but he was still getting buckets.
So if nobody claims him within the time limit, the player clears waivers and becomes an unrestricted free agent. So then the contract is done.
Gotcha.
But that's what he needs to be able to play college football.
Yes.
You can't be signed to a professional contract, is my understanding. Yes. But also, what are rules? What is eligibility? Anything's possible.
I'm pretty sure that this is still a rule that if you go professional in a certain sport, you can't go back to college in that sport. And he went professional. Like he
not in that sport, right?
But it's football. Like you can't go back.
But no. Don't do that, because remember there are guys who go to the NBA Summer League League, but they've been to the draft and stuff.
Rico,
and then they return.
We already nuked that with college basketball last year. The only thing that they really put their foot down was the old boy from Alabama who actually played in games.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, he came back for a few.
He did, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing this."
The Alabama judge was like, "What do you mean?
I thought this was going to be okay."
I said it was fine. Let him play in the Iron Bowl.
Roll Tide.
That's how he ended his judgment. He's like, "What do you mean? I'm not biased." No, it's basically the judges have nuked it to the point where it's like, as long as you have not played in a regular season game, you're Gucci to come back if the eligibility rules say that.
That's exactly how I want the verbiage to go too.
Yeah. I want the judges to say you're Gucci.
You're Gucci.
I think that would be ideal.
Matt, breaking news: Brett Favre is going back to college. Not a guy you want in college. Not a guy that we need around young people.
I don't think you want him around anyone, to be honest.
No. Good at raising money. Good at stealing money.
Well, listen.
Also, just
I'm sure that volleyball facility is going to get built one way or another.
Brett Favre, just a bad dude. People forget.
Honestly, feel pretty bad for Southern Miss. They didn't do anything. They just accepted the money they thought was okay.
Maybe they shouldn't have signed Brett Favre all those years ago. That was their first mistake. Like, there's repercussions here. We've got to be careful.
When you sign a guy whose last name is pronounced Favre but is spelled Favre, that's your first mistake.
Favre.
Well, you could just tell he's a liar because he doesn't even know how to pronounce his own name.
Ooh, that's a good prank.
I'm just saying.
It's pretty good.
I'm just saying. What's going on
with Brett Favre?
With Brett Favre's name. This is what we need to know. No, the Deshaun Watson thing was objectively hilarious. Just with him.
Yes.
Guys, why are you guys?
Well, did you watch? There's no way you watched this entirety of the press conference.
No,
right?
I watched a chunk though.
But they had, I think it was Deshaun first, and he makes those ridiculous claims. And the news is like leaking out that they're going to release that LSU tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And then, did you see that Todd Monken went up after? And he was like, hey, by the way, I'm naming our starting quarterback on Monday. Better tune in. Who does that?
I also think
why is Cleveland Browns like TV becoming the most important thing to watch over the past like 48 hours?
Also, like, I don't know what the hell's going on with Daquan. He's like, I guess that's why Lane Kiffin called me last week.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes. God, the Browns were just they're going full Browns.
Oh, they're browning all over the place.
Oh yeah, they listen.
So much brown. Just
so much brown.
I just cannot believe.
I feel really bad that last week I like caused a tizzy on this show about, I think the Browns could actually steal a few in the AFC North, and now I feel really bad about it. It's just blowing up in my face.
Explodes
over my face. That's what you wanted? Is that what you wanted? That's what you wanted, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. Now we're playing the long game. All right. I've got you.
What do you mean?
Got you in a box.
Yeah, but no, now that drop exists of you saying that.
No way. No. Shane doesn't understand technology, so he'll be fine. He can't cut that. It ain't happening.
No, I just it might be one of the most like least self-aware things I've ever heard from Deshaun Watson, where he's just like
I can understand as like a human being being like, man, it really sucks that all these people are booing me, and I'm like, maybe he's going through it and stuff.
But he has to know why, right?
Like your awareness is at zero. If you don't understand, there might be a reason why all these people dislike me so much, including my own fan base.
I will say, Juan, that's one of my least favorite terms for going to the bathroom. He says, speaking of, I need to make brown. It's one of my least favorite terms.
I don't like that at all.
You can say almost anything else.
Drop a deuce?
Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't bother me at all. Make brown is very gross.
I don't like people who are adults who will do the pat the table and go, time to do number 2. I don't like that.
Yeah,
don't tell me.
I don't need that much information.
Don't need to know.
You know.
Although it's a great prank on the opposite side. I did pull this on Saturday as well. When someone goes, oh, does anyone know where this person is? And I just go, yeah, they're taking a shit.
Hot Dangerous.
Always the best.
Make plops. That's fine.
Plops.
That's kind of funny.
Browns to the Super Bowl.
That's fine. For some reason that bothers me less than make brown.
Dropping the kids off at the pool.
That's fine.
That's bad. That's bad. Don't do that.
I don't mind that at all.
Don't let your kids drop one at the pool. It's bad.
No,
absolutely not.
No, you should not let them do that at the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets to swim.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Everybody loses.
Ruins it for everybody.
Look, there's a Snickers bar in the pool.
There's never a Snickers bar in the pool.
There's never a Snickers bar.
There's never a Snickers bar.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking though about Deshaun Watson. I was listening to
that's bad.
I was listening to a podcast and they were trying to figure out if there was like a corollary of another fan base turning on a guy to this degree. And the only thing I could think of is how I felt about late stage Scott Frost.
Oh, wow. Everything comes back to Scott Frost. Here we go.
Only thing
23 minutes in.
It's the only thing I could think of that even remotely approached the level of disdain that Browns fans seem to have for Deshaun Watson, who's still very much actively on their team.
Yep. And being paid a lot of money.
Yeah. Like I was out on Frost like about halfway through his tenure, but it wasn't until after 2021 when they brought him back that I was like, my God, can we just be done with this dude?
Right. Yeah. You just want the storyline to be done,
I
right?
was just like, can we all just move on?
That is kind of the hardest part about being the Browns fan is even when Deshaun Watson hasn't been available or like a part of the team, he's still a part of your organization.
Yes.
You can't move away from him. He's always just lingering around.
Yeah, much like a fart.
Deshaun Watson is just a big old Brown. Just being a fart.
Lingers.
Yeah. It's tough.
It's like when you walk into a public restroom, it's just hot air all over the place.
He's just the porta potty of the Browns. That's what he's doing.
God, he is the porta potty of the Browns.
That's tough. Yeah, no, it's just I don't know if the Scott Frost example is exactly correct, but
it's the only thing I could even think of.
But the feeling is I think the understandable feeling of it, it's just like, okay, when can this Band-Aid finally be ripped off?
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is it can't in Deshaun's case because they're so hamstrung by the contract and everything that they're. I still think that you're better off just cutting him because it's guaranteed money anyway. You're losing the money regardless. So why even have him as a distraction? Because you don't want to play him. At this point, you're not making many efforts to actually want him to be a part of your team.
Somebody was talking about this. It might have been Bill said, I don't remember whose podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about this being the worst trade in NFL history and maybe sports history. And that's, as much as I dislike Deshaun Watson, I don't know that that's actually true. It has turned out that way, but like in the moment,
all trades in the moment are good. What are you talking about?
That's not true. Some trades, like the Luka trade in the moment, was one of the dumbest.
Okay, that's fair, but you know what I'm saying. Like most trades, both parties feel like they're getting something out of it.
Yes, but a lot of parties are stupid in trades. Like in the moment, I think the Deshaun Watson trade was entirely justifiable.
I remember the Panthers were in that. They were in that sweepstakes. I think he was about to agree to terms, and then Cleveland came in with more money. So that's a
and they came in with the extra pick too. I think.
Now we have Haynes King.
I think they went. That's the guy we got. How's the hamstring? Is he okay?
We're still waiting.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not great.
I'm also still waiting on my jersey, so we'll find out when that's getting here.
That may or may not ever.
If they cut him and my jersey shows up that day, I'll be very upset with the Carolina.
That's exactly
Panthers.
what's going to happen.
That would be, frankly, just incredible.
The Hall of Fame game was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and you ordered it.
Well, they have to.
I know.
They had to make the jersey.
That's true. They did not exist. They did not exist.
They just said
that was an AI image.
They said a guy in Omaha wants a Haynes King jersey.
Like, you were the first one to order it. They were like, "What is this?"
They're probably actually being super nice about it and just like waiting just to see if
sure
I
he
still
makes
want
it.
Yeah, they're like, "Are you sure you don't want?"
Your credit card company was probably like, "That's a mistake.
That's got to be fraud."
Decline.
Haynes King.
If he gets cut, you're just going to get like a note in the mail. It's going to be like, hey, we refunded your purchase. We're really sorry.
No, it's for sure going to show up that day that he got cut.
That's
the worst
They're going to
part.
send you a Bryce Young jersey instead.
Can you imagine
Fine
being
with that?
the worst part of the Browns?
Like,
out of all the bad of the Browns, like Deshaun Watson is the worst part of the Browns.
And also, he's bad in two ways. He's just not good on the football field, and he's arguably a worse person than he is as a player.
Which at this point is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really tough to do.
Hard to do because he's very bad at football.
And I like, even if you go to the draft day of it all, like, who's hanging out with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland? That sounds like the worst sort of double date you could possibly have. Hey, honey, we've got plans Thursday night. What are we doing? Oh, me, you, and Deshaun are all hanging out.
Yeah, nobody's
great.
None of his teammates, like none of their wives are like, yeah, let's go double date with Deshaun. Like,
And where can you go? Where can you go? Like, get acai bowls? Like, you can't do anything fun, you know? You're not going to a high-end restaurant. Yeah, you're going to Skyline Chili. That's Cincinnati, but yeah.
On the different Ohio.
Flight back, I don't, all the Browns were probably together on the Browns jet. He was on his own private jet with his wife, fiance, girlfriend, whoever she is, playing college football, like on his, like by himself. I'm like, that sucks, dude.
That's real, or you're making that up?
No, that was a real video.
Okay, I was going to say, because if he has his own PJ, I would actually, if I were the Browns, I would just say, you know what, you're going to fly in Southwest, buddy. Yes,
he also
your bags
NC
are not
State.
flying free either.
He also picked NC State as his Road to Glory team.
Again, NC State has to come out and just be like, we do not
approve
of this. Yeah.
We're out. We do not endorse this. Man.
NC State plays this week.
They do play this week.
Yep.
Was that NC State TCU?
Mm-hmm.
That's
no. It's an ACC game, I think, isn't it? Or is it not?
I don't remember. I remember NC State being the best game on the docket. I am excited though. We've got real life college football this week.
Yes.
We have a full slate of high school games this week.
Indeed. Including the 8-man classic on Saturday, which I know you're pumped for.
Well, who do we have the 8-man classic?
It's UNC, TCU, NC State, Virginia. See?
NC State, Virginia. It is ACC.
This guy knows.
You're right. I knew there was an ACC TCU matchup.
Yeah, you got it.
North Carolina
First try.
TCU.
Yeah.
Almost.
Mm-hmm.
What 8-man game are you going to?
It's the 8-man classic in Grand Island, so there's 3 games going on. I'm most excited for Lawrence Nelson Elm Creek on it's the night game. So
okay, there we go.
Yeah, a lot of good ones.
Just back to back to back.
Yeah, 3 all playing at Grand Island's Memorial Stadium.
Oh,
which is notably the most famous of them all.
It is the most famous Memorial Stadium.
When people say Memorial Stadium, they just go Grand Island?
Grand Island?
Yeah.
Got it? No?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Different one?
Home of the
Islanders.
Bang. This guy knows ball.
Yeah. Woo.
Do you have any fun Grand Island memories?
I've been to Grand Island a couple times. Nothing sticks out. I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing
Good
sticks
casino.
out. I don't think the casino existed when I was there.
Probably not, no.
Yeah, I think that was pre-legalized gambling in Nebraska.
Pre-legalized gambling.
No, I don't think there's anything that stood out. I think there was a baseball trip once, like
Miller North to Ryder Park.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe Johnny Dorn was involved.
Oh, okay.
And then
you're name dropping now.
Well, he played for us. I think it was the same year he was there. And then I want to say we stayed there on the way out somewhere else for a basketball trip because my old college basketball coach was from Grand Island, and so we stopped through there. But those are my only Grand Island experiences.
So Saturday is Clarkson and Arapahoe, Dunning County, Stratton, and Hartington, Newcastle, Elm Creek, and Lawrence Nelson. And I do believe Clarkson is now on my list of potential 8-man games for us to go see.
Ooh,
because they play a rivalry game against Lee, who they just unconsolidated with.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, it's a high drama situation.
I like that.
I was kind of thinking maybe we just solo this 8-man. We see if we can find a different 6-man at a different time because
where's Clarkson? Where's that game at?
it's kind of like Columbus, between Columbus,
Oh, that's
Norfolk
not bad.
area. So it's like probably an hour and a half.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and I thought, I was like, man, if we're I was like, the chance of a fight happening in the stands at your first 8-man game.
Oh, that's
kind of rocks.
That's elite. That's elite.
Yeah. Rico could meet us in Wahoo. We could pick him up.
Why would we pick him up in Wahoo?
Can't wait.
You work in Omaha, man. Just come here. We'll take you from there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's fine.
I mean, just pick me up in Wahoo.
Why would we pick you up in Wahoo?
Because
I offered to pick him up in Wahoo. I didn't want him to have to drive all the way to Omaha and then drive all the way back.
Is
He's got
Wahoo
kids at home.
closer to Lincoln?
Yeah, it's north of Lincoln.
Was it Wahoo also north of Omaha?
No.
Wahoo's
Wahoo is directly west of center.
Omaha.
You literally take center all the way to Wahoo.
I thought it started
No,
that's
Lincoln,
Fremont.
You got to go down a little bit to get to Lincoln.
Do you think you could pass a Nebraska geography test?
Absolutely not.
depends on what the geography was. I know where Omaha and Lincoln are.
Okay.
I know
I'm not gonna. I want to give you what's this town of 200 people? Like,
I
where's
know
Howells? I don't think you'd get that.
approximately where Grand Island, Kearney, North Platte, Scottsbluff, McCook.
So interstates.
Yeah.
What you're saying?
I could do I-80.
I can't believe you'd get McCook. I know why you'd
I've
get
been
McCook.
there.
Yes, because you've
I've
said that
been
many
there,
times.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That's the only. I'm basically an I-80 Nebraska geography.
If I gave you
person.
counties, do you think you could name counties? Probably not.
I could name some counties.
Yeah. Counties, there's 93 of them. I wouldn't get all counties.
I can name
Lot of
some
counties.
counties. I could not properly place them outside of the Omaha metro area.
It's fair. It's fair. I don't know how good I would do at that. Do you ever do license plate games?
Oh, yeah.
License
I
plate,
got
try to
pretty
guess
good
them?
at license plates for a while, but they changed a bunch of the numbers, so I don't.
No, they didn't. What do you mean?
Yeah, they did.
When?
Well, Omaha doesn't even have a number anymore.
I mean, yeah.
Neither does Sarpy or Lancaster. Because those were 1, 2, and 59.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know.
So Sarpy used-
interesting. I didn't know Sarpy did.
Sarpy used to have the 5-9 on top of it, but
Yeah.
since so much of it was just conglomerated
Mhm.
with Omaha, then Sarpy just has regular
Huh.
plates now.
I learned something new.
And I don't believe Lincoln has the 2 anymore either.
They
So
do not.
Omaha and Lincoln.
Seeing a 1 or a 2 is actually really exciting.
It's incredibly
Yeah.
rare. I think it's only on farm trucks and stuff.
More or less, yes, or ones that have been grandfathered through, they haven't
Oh,
they
they,
haven't had a
kept
title
their
exchange
plate.
or anything like that. Yeah.
I was actually very upset. I enjoyed having the 1.
You had 1?
Well, yeah. Well, this was.
Wait, when did the switch happen to letters first?
I think it was when I was in college. I think my first. I think when I first got my car, I had the 1.
Okay.
And I enjoyed just being able to represent, be like,
Yeah.
we're number 1.
I have had a 39 county, an 8 county, a 9 county, and now I have the Omaha plate. And when I go places with my Omaha plated car,
Yeah.
notably to Dr. Fiance's homestead,
Oh, you get a little.
people will be like, "Who's this city slicker that's in our town?"
They give you a hard
My
time.
bad. Sorry, just driving my Chevy Equinox. Good gas mileage.
We think the exact opposite.
I do too. Anytime if I see anything that starts with if it's a 30 plate car and I see it on Dodge, I'm like, that guy's full stop in this street. He's gonna get nervous.
Yeah, every time something bad traffic wise is happening, it's either an Iowa plate,
Yep.
or a real high county number, and I'm like, come on, man,
What are we doing?
what are we doing here?
State track is the worst because
Oh, God.
everybody gets confused.
I live very close to state
That's
track.
gotta be hell.
as you know.
That's got to be hell.
I will go out of my I do not take Dodge that whole week.
I want it.
I bust my way out. Even if I need to go that direction, I bust my way all the way out to Blondo.
And loop around.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not doing this today. There are way too many county numbers here. And listen, I know you're having a great time. We love state track. We love that you support it. But I am not dealing with the driving.
It's also everybody's pilgrimage because it's the end of the year.
Yeah.
You get the end of the school year. People plan vacations and stuff around it. I actually do know a few people that would plan their state track trip. And now that the way that it's set up,
You basically go on summer vacation right after, right?
Some people legitimately would drive all the way to Omaha, and then they would just pack up and be ready to go, and then they would fly out, or they would just drive down to wherever they were going after. There was many fancy people who would go drive from, get this, Sydney to Omaha, Omaha to Branson. That is a long, long return home. Could you imagine?
That is not the place I thought. I didn't know where I thought you were going to say.
There's a lot of Branson folk.
That is the most on-brand thing I've ever heard.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it seems like people from Sydney would really enjoy Branson.
What does that mean?
I've been to Branson. It just seems like their vibe. It seems like something you would really enjoy.
No, don't. What do you mean? Be specific. Be specific. What is it about it? What is it about it? Huh?
There's a lot to do, but it's not like a big city feel.
Ravi, Branson slaps.
I was not a fan.
Says Mr. Carney USA over here.
I think it has a nice it still feels like a small town, but there's a lot to do.
And you hate small towns.
I don't hate small towns. I wouldn't want to live in one. I need a little bit more
variety,
things to do.
That's fair. Yeah.
I was not a huge fan of Branson. It wasn't a great time for me. To be fair, I did go with my ex-wife, so that may have been a factor.
Yes. So you need to do fun things. You need to go do things that you did with your ex-wife with more fun people and see if you still hate those things.
Maybe, but Branson's not high on the list.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
You don't want to take a boys trip to Branson?
A fellas?
No, I don't.
The fellas trip?
I don't want to take a boys trip to Branson.
What about the Ozarks?
Yeah, see, what about the Ozarks?
Ozarks, you'd have a better chance with getting me to the Ozarks than Branson.
Katie was just in the Ozarks this weekend. She left me home alone.
Branson.
Ooh. Triple B.
I don't want to do Branson. Ozarks, maybe. Not doing Branson.
I don't mind the Ozarks.
We got to get a boat.
Though I don't have a boat and I don't have a house down there, so everything just got more expensive.
I think I know somebody with a house down there.
Oh, that would be nice.
And I have a boat.
Wow. The more you know.
Let's go.
Do you have a way to tow the boat?
Yeah, I would have to take my wife's car, but it's got the tow hitch on it.
Why does your wife's car have the tow hitch?
We have the Hurrdat van.
We should take the Hurrdat van. And then I would purposefully run into the water like the Office scene. That'd be very funny. The GPS knows.
It says turn right here. It can't mean that.
That show rocks.
No, she liked that car better, so I was like, I don't care. That's fine. You can have
Get the tow package. Yeah.
It had the tow.
Also,
It's not like a truck.
Your wife bringing all the snacks was elite.
It was clutch.
That was awesome. That was actually the most small town ball like thing you could have possibly done, was bring the level of snacks that you brought to a bar yesterday or Saturday.
Elite level of.
And also,
snacks.
I'm not gonna give away any secrets here. I'm not gonna really call them out. The last place we went to, I shouldn't have eaten.
Yeah,
that wasn't good.
I only like one thing there.
And you didn't tell me that.
I did. I told everybody that.
No, you didn't. You must have whispered it. You must have, when everyone was like, oh, what are we going to get? You must have just been like,
I told everybody. I was like, this is what I get every time.
Oh, that's you telling everybody what is good there?
Yes. Why would I get the thing that isn't good there?
That's not, you got to be more direct. You got to be very specific about that. You can't just say, this is what I always order because I like it.
Hey, everything else here is ass.
That's what you should have said.
You have to only get this.
That's what you should have said.
To be fair, we only went there because of proximity.
I still think we should have went. We should have went to the fast food place that was just north.
But yeah, possible.
I think we all would have had a better time.
Except for the people at that fast food establishment. They would not have enjoyed it.
I think they would have been fine with it.
They wouldn't have enjoyed our presence.
No, it would have been fine.
You sure?
They've seen us before.
They don't serve alcohol there, though.
That's fine. I didn't need any alcohol at that point.
All right,
we were doing good. We were doing good.
Yes, they do still have Silver Dollar City down there. At the
Silver Dollar Grill in Sydney, Nebraska?
No, Silver Dollar City. It's like an amusement park.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was the only good part of my trip. I saw the Harlem Globetrotters there. They were performing.
That rocks.
At Silver Dollar City.
That's very fun.
It was pretty cool. I spent my entire day at Silver Dollar City just like hanging out around the Harlem Globetrotters because I was like, I don't want to do anything else here. That's what I did.
Always bringing it back to basketball.
My exit, I was like, I want to go on rides. I was like, cool, I'm going to go over here.
The Harlem Globetrotters are hanging out. Might as well hang out here.
Like, the Globetrotters are here. I'm going to see if I can.
I'm not.
It was like their B team, but they were still good.
I don't know if when I become a parent, I'm going to be like addicted to water parks and roller coasters, but I'm really hoping my kids aren't. Those just aren't my vibe. I'm just not for that.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
I don't mind the water. Like, is there a difference between a water park and like water roller coasters? Do you know what I mean? Like water park, I think of like the big expansive, like they maybe have some slides and that sort of stuff, but I don't want to go where there are rides that have water. I don't want to be standing in line for so long. That seems That doesn't seem fun to me.
So you're
Yeah.
anti-log ride, but you're pro lazy river.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Is that bad?
No, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
You're getting more out of, well, as you personally are getting more out of the lazy river
I guess that's true.
than sitting it. But also, I don't know how much kids like lazy river, so I don't know if that's a thing for them.
I've always loved a lazy river. Island Oasis in Grand Island, that place rocked.
For like adults, I understand. It's like, oh man, we're just chilling. This is great.
Yeah.
I don't know if kids get into that.
We need more adult lazy rivers.
Schlitterbahn had a good one, but then
Whoa, the what?
The who?
Schlitterbahn in Kansas City.
Language.
You don't remember the water roller coaster?
No, I do. I'm
No,
just giving you a hard time.
I was gonna say I don't. This is news to me, Brandon. It's news to me.
You haven't heard so Kansas City had a Schlitterbahn. They're mostly in Texas and down
Mhm.
south, and they made one of the, I think it's quote unquote first water roller coasters. And then sadly, a kid was decapitated on the ride.
I knew this was gonna happen.
Good Lord, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon, for picking up the vibe on a Monday. We
Really
appreciate that.
burying the lead there. My God.
Yep. First, Brandon brings up Deshaun Watson, now decapitating kids.
Wow.
Jeez, what's he doing
I was
next?
getting flamed on Twitter on Friday. I was getting
You
absolutely
did that on your
assaulted.
own. You did that to yourself. You can't blame us for that.
I was being
really-
honest with the listeners, though.
I really enjoyed that Warhorse chimed in.
That was crazy.
Never
was-
be honest with the listeners.
That was incredible. Brandon just got roasted all weekend for admitting he was an Iowa fan.
That was really tough. And Brandon just ate it. And then he tried to tweet through it like he
He did. Honestly, you can't tweet through something like that.
No. I'm surprised more people didn't try to just chime in during your other tweet storms there, Brandon. Like if you tweeted out like a movie review and people are just like, okay, Iowa fan, just let it slide.
That's probably going to start now because you said something.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
Lost all credibility as anyone with judgment on anything just because of the Iowa fandom. Here's the problem, Brandon. I think it would be more acceptable if you hadn't moved here when you were 3 and you still chose to be an Iowa fan. You know what I mean? Like
you had time to convert and you chose not to.
That's true. Like
you openly chose not to.
I assume you weren't a football fan at 3 years old. Most of us weren't like self-aware at that point. If you had moved here at like 15, I get it.
Mhm.
Right? You're like, man, I've grown up my whole life, all my friends, whatever. You moved here at 3, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Like what happened?
just being loyal to the family.
Mm.
I mean, that's a mistake.
Yeah, that
You're
was
not
tough.
in Fast and Furious. You don't have
so
to.
if your family's inherently wrong, you're just like, okay, yeah, sure, it's because it's family. I
See,
believe
that's-
them.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
So if your family was like Deshaun Watson should be the starter of the
See,
Cleveland
this is-
Browns,
like,
That's
we're taking a
fair.
Left turn here.
Throw up your 4s, baby. We love Deshaun Watson.
you're just like, you know what? We ride with Deshaun. That's how it would go, bud.
We say the Hawkeyes on Saturdays and Deshaun on Sundays. Wherever he goes, we ride. That's the Brandon
To
family
be
way.
fair, Iowa fans are used to just absolute ass quarterback.
That is
play.
true. They would probably sign.
That's why I'm a
If,
Vikings fan also.
if Deshaun Watson was available on waivers, would they sign him?
100%.
Would that be a step up? I mean,
Is he better than Jeremy Aklinski?
easier to say, that's for sure. Throw up your 4s. Throw up your 4s, Hawkeyes. Oh gosh, that'd be tough.
What if the rest of your
Oh,
family?
he can't wave. No. Deshaun can't wave. He would not be allowed to wave at Kinnick.
No,
He can't do that.
No, you got to
Yeah.
turn the other way.
Mhm.
But
Like, hey, why don't you have a conversation with your quarterback coach? at
I was
this
like,
point?
Brandon, or not Brandon.
Brandon can do the wave. Brandon can do the wave. Brandon's allowed to do the wave.
Deshaun, why don't we look at the iPad while everybody else is waving? There?
That was mean.
I didn't mean to. It was-
Freudian slip.
it
That was bad.
What? I almost called him Deshaun. That's not good.
Deshaun Tiedemann.
Brandon, if the rest of your family was like, hey, The Odyssey, actually overrated, terrible movie, would you still ride with the family?
No.
Okay, so your logic on being a Hawkeyes fan is pretty flimsy and falling apart
That
in
is a
front of
good
our
point.
eyes.
Yep.
I also don't think my parents would go see The Odyssey.
Is it
Okay.
because they were too busy watching the Deshaun preseason performance?
No, Austin.
Are you sure?
I think we got to take a break. I don't know if we can get through to you calling him Deshaun on accident. That was crazy.
Listen, it happens.
No, it doesn't.
It looks like Ken is related to Brandon.
Oh, that's good.
He says Odyssey was overrated, not that good.
That's good.
That means he's really, I think
Ken
that's-
was wearing his Deshaun jersey as well. Man, I just can't wait for the Browns game. It's better 3 hours than that Odyssey crap. Tell you that right now.
I would rather watch every pass Deshaun has thrown for the Cleveland Browns.
No.
What has
God,
this
no.
devolved into?
It's time to take a break. We've got Sam McKewon coming up at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk about the Omaha World Herald Super Six. Then we will talk to Adam McClintock at 9 from Matrix Analytical. He is our CFB professor. We're going to get into some coaching hot seat versus reality in terms of their metrics with Adam. I think we're going to have a good time with that. We were talking about Dion last week and things like that. A lot of coaches on the hot seat. We'll get into that with Adam McClintock coming up at 9. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, they've worked really hard, but the true test will be what we do in the games, right? No one. Worst things when you hear a coach say, "Hey, we practiced really well," and then you get beat, badly. So I mean, at the end of the day, this is a production, performance-based business. So they work really hard. They are extremely detailed, trying to learn a new way of doing things. Because every team is new, every season is new, and certainly every head coach you work for and every university you're at's new. So I've been very pleased with them. Been very pleased with the staff. But to me, it's how you handle the season, how you handle game planning, how you handle the rigors of being here, the travel, the weather, all those things, like who could be the same guy every day. And so far so good, but a lot remains to be seen.
Was that fourth set of the Nebraska-Texas A&M match one of the best sets you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I've seen a lot of great sets.
Yeah.
But that's right there at the top, and it was agony.
I know.
But I mean, it was, you're like, come on. Mm-hmm. But that's just two great teams going at it, and that's what's so great about this sport.
Where were you watching it?
I was in my house.
You were in your home. Yeah. You didn't
I was thinking about coming but I would be so nervous. I couldn't sit there. I mean, I wanted to go, and they asked me to come and do some radio stuff, and I just said, no, I can't sit through a regional. The regional is the most stressful weekend of the year.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, Anthony would play for us right now. All the quarterbacks have done a nice job. Anthony, I think the biggest thing is he's very competitive, very fiery. He expects to win every play, and but he's done a nice job of disciplining himself to also take what's there, and makes nice checks in the run-pass game, can throw the ball deep, and I think the biggest thing is he extends a ton of plays with his legs, which takes a lot of pressure off of the offensive line and the backs in protection and puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Do we want to kind of preset the Super Six before we talk to Sam here?
That's up to you, man. You can. It's going off in chat right now, so we might as well bring up the conversation we've been having behind the scenes before we get to Sam.
Yeah, so I mean, to start, so the Omaha World Herald released their Super Six yesterday. Some of the players were very obviously going to make it, but you've got
like who?
I mean, Trey Taylor was probably
okay.
Trey Taylor and Tay Ellis were pretty obvious picks. Although I will say, and this is something we want to talk to Sam about, very interesting picks in that they're two guys that have never played high school football in the state of Nebraska before.
So that's I want to prelude this for our chat, for our podcast listeners, that when you listen to some of the questions that, I mean, specific, I don't know what you will want to ask Sam, but I'm sure that the conversation will actually divulge. As someone who does not know the selection process of the Super Six, but just has read the definition and the defining and how they have put it out there, I'm curious to know how they parlayed that, because two guys who just have never played Nebraska high school football are automatically on the list. And I do understand they're the two guys that have some of the highest offers possible, but they also haven't played high school football in the state before. I'm not saying that that's a disservice to their talent or who they are or any of that other stuff.
But they are at Nebraska high schools currently, and it would be again, especially with Trey Taylor, pretty big omission to not have him on there. So that's an interesting discussion. I will say, I read through the article yesterday, and as far as I can tell, the only place that goes towards criteria in terms of defining it is in one of the first paragraphs. It says, for more than 2 decades, the World Herald's team of prep and Husker Gridiron reporters have selected the top 6 football players in this year's senior class. It doesn't say anything about offers. It doesn't say anything about commitments or anything like that. Now, if you go back in previous years, those things are mentioned. And if you look at the list and who makes it year in and year out, that generally seems to be a factor.
Yeah.
But in the way they themselves have sort of defined it here, it just says the top players in the senior class.
And let's also be clear that sometimes in past Super Sixes, like we have seen, there have not been 6 Power 4 level commits. That it has truthfully been, these are kind of your 6 best players available. These are, back and forth. There's also been times where, the 6 had multiple, and this is one of the classes as well. And I know Mike had put out, I think it was the class of 2019 that had plenty of other athletes that were on there that eventually, Sebastian Harsh from Scotts Bluff was not included in that Super Six. And he ended up being not only a Wyoming commit, but is now still on an NFL roster as well. So you have guys that have prolonged success in such that don't necessarily get quantified the same way that every single Super Six at every single year equates the same. None of them, I don't think you can value the same to one another. You just kind of have to deal with what you have coming up in each class individually.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair, because in a place like Nebraska, you're not going to have the same groups of prospects or recruits or talent in every class, right? So I totally understand that. I do think it's really interesting. Tay is, I think, the most interesting name involved with this list in terms of, obviously he's not on it, but in terms of where people think he should be. Because
now, for our podcast listeners or people who don't know,
Tay Jenkins, the running back for Omaha West Side, he is a senior this year, will be a senior this year.
He's over 2,000 yards rushing in back-to-back seasons.
Very well could be the best high school football player in the state this year. That's on the table.
That's fair. Yep.
Right? Very easily could be Trey Taylor. There's a few guys that very easily could stake the claim. to being the best high school player in the state this year. Now, does not have the offers, right, to speak of at all, really. I don't know. I don't think he has any Division I offers at this point.
Not that I know of.
I know he was talking to, I thought he was talking to Fresno State for a minute. I don't know if they got an offer done there or not. But he is sort of the elephant in the room because he's such a unique position of possibly being the best high school player in the state, yet not having any of the offers that all these other guys have. And so when you use the term top players in the state rather than top prospects, or,
yes,
then we get into a different conversation because I think you would have a hard time with anybody arguing that follows high school football in Nebraska very closely that Tate isn't one of the 6 best players in the state, right? I think everybody would agree, even the coaches at Omaha West Side, that Tate is the best player on that team, and his teammate Braylon Warren, who does have power conference offers and is committed to Missouri, is on the team and Tate is not. So that's where this thing gets really, really interesting because without defined criteria, although college opportunities does certainly seem to be a factor historically, without strictly defined criteria, Tate becomes sort of an elephant in the room about possibly the best player in the state not being recognized on this list at all.
And listen, I'll give credit to this too. Like the entire reasoning for part of the Super Six is to recognize the top talents, the top names in the state as almost representatives, right? It's almost like of the brand of the state of Nebraska in terms of high school football. These are where, the biggest names of the kids, and in the definition of these are the kids with the maybe largest profiles is kind of the way to define it. You can say, well, these are the kids that are going to be defining Nebraska high school football or volleyball, as they have a Super Six for that as well. As they move on to their future endeavors, you could kind of characterize it as that. I've always taken it, and this is again why I want to ask Sam more about it on my personal side, as someone who grew up, not from the Omaha Metro, from an area that is routinely kind of overlooked. And I can say overlooked because it's one of those things that we're always going to feel slighted when you're 6 hours away from the Omaha Metro, when you're not in Central Standard Time. Garrett Nelson was a part of the Super Six, part of a couple of classes ago. I mentioned that Sebastian Harsh wasn't included, but I'm sure there's plenty of other guys. You can even go back, and we were trying to see if Danny Woodhead was included, but I don't think that the Super Six was part of.
I think they started right after.
So that would have been another interesting example, but
Calvin Strong was the other one because I think his South Dakota offer came after the season.
So he was on the Super Six.
Which makes sense for his level of talent. So
but again, like I've always deemed the Super Six as being, if you are flying in at 30,000 feet and you ask someone on the street, who are the 6 best high school football players in the state of Nebraska? That's what I always deem the Super Six to be. And, it's just one of those things that I think that this year too, personally, covering high school sports the way that I do and getting in and out and all that sort of stuff, I completely understand from the 30,000 foot view of it exactly why Trey and Tay are on there. But I do have a little bit of an issue. And again, this is just modern times. It's maybe me needing to grow up and get with it. But it is one of those things I was like, man, they just haven't even played a snap in the state of Nebraska, right? I see them more as Nebraska commits more than I see them as Nebraska high school football players. And
at least until Friday.
I really don't think that they would even tell you. I think that they might say the same thing, the two of them. I think they would be like, listen,
their only reason they're here is because they are Nebraska.
It's a very open reason why they are, why they are playing at Millard South, why they moved to Nebraska.
I'm thrilled they chose to move here. Like, I like that they're that committed to the state and the university that they wanted to be here early. I'm thrilled about that. It does make things like this a little more complicated.
And I hope that that's not controversial by any means, but I just think of some of there are some kids that probably saw this list come out and were truly probably heartbroken by the fact that they were like, man, I thought that I was going to be one of those 6 to represent the state of Nebraska. And again, this takes nothing away from Trey and Tay. Like I do think that Trey Taylor is an unprecedented tsunami of a force that you can't deny.
Yeah, you can't ignore.
Right. And as a media outlet, yeah, absolutely. You should recognize that. And I don't deny that at all, but it does make it one of those. It's just it's a hard line for me to be able to cross and just be like, man, I just want to represent the kids of the state as best we can. And Trey and Tay are now included in that. And that's what makes it such a hard, it's this weird scale that I'm trying to balance,
Archers brings up a good point. He says, not sure Erickson is the best lineman on his team. He's the best prospect on his team in terms of alignment. But if you're talking about high school linemen and how they execute this year, That's a good point as well.
See, Hot Danger makes the argument that Garrett Nelson or Carter Nelson is based on competition that they play. Garrett Nelson and Carter Nelson both included in the Super Six, though.
Yeah.
And again, both prospects at the time. Garrett Nelson committed to Nebraska. Carter Nelson, I can't remember if he was committed at the time, but I mean, he had high-end offers at Georgia, Ohio State. He was, being offered by everybody. He was a 5-star prospect by some outlets. So yeah, I understand.
And definitely not just a Tate thing. Another name that I think will and should be brought up, and we can bring this one up to Sam to see how close he was, is Wyatt Liebentritt. Power Conference, Big Ten commit to Minnesota, and I think certainly one of the best players in the state on the high school level as well. So that's another interesting name there. But let's take a quick break. It is 8 o'clock. Let's get to Sam McKewon coming up next. We can ask him a bunch of these questions and see how they landed on their Super Six here this year for the state of Nebraska. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, again, just coming to mind, a guy like Anthony. I mean, he's just a dog, to be honest with you. I mean, he plays extremely hard and shows up. And you're going to get the same thing out of him every day for sure. Cam Linhart, I mean, that dude knows one speed. I mean, Cam is full go, full throttle each and every play until exhaustion and then some more. And so, I mean, those guys, just at the top of my mind stick out. But again, my goal for the room is this is how the edges play. I want to pour into all those guys, and I want the room to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Because that's where I take my personal pride. And so, again, I'm trying to push all those guys to run to the ball at extreme level and flash on tape through their effort and energy and physicality. And so, we have 2 weeks still, 2.5, almost 2.5 weeks. So we'll continue to grow.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
I think expectations here have always been high. It didn't take us to win a state championship for that to be our goal or anything like that. we've always strived for that, from when I first got here in 2019. And, we've been in the semifinals, I think 4 or 5 times during that time and just came up short a lot. And so finally getting over the hump last year was a big, big deal. And we hope that helps springboard us into it again, getting that experience of what it's like to win that semifinal game and kind of get that monkey off your back and then get the experience of playing in a state championship. And we were fortunate enough to win one. And, we just kind of hope that springboards us into this year. And this is a new team and every year's a new team. And, we have to be appreciative and obviously understand that the target's on our back, but our mindset doesn't change. And it's at the same time where, pressure's a privilege and we talk about that a lot. And these guys have done a great job and they've answered that call.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
It was yesterday was mainly a situational end of game day. So today was special teams, and it was just kind of moving the field. Tried to stack long drives together. So even if it went didn't get a 3rd down or 4th down, we moved the ball up just to test our conditioning on offense and defense. I don't know the total amount of plays. It was somewhere in the range of probably 110. Was what we were aiming for. So if it was 113 or something, 112, I think a couple times I let them play it out. And then we ended with a live Hail Mary against the defense. They can practice knocking it down. So it might be about 113, but it was scheduled to be about 110 plays.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, how are we doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good, Sam. Hey, we're super excited about the Super Six getting its announcement and everything. I was curious, just because of seeing the announcement and seeing the 6 that were picked, how does that selection process go? And especially just within the walls of the Omaha World Herald, is that can you just define a little bit about what goes into that process year in and year out?
Yeah. So generally speaking, some years are a little different than others. Some years we're having a conversation about if there are 6 guys that are going D1, then it's more of a question of, okay, like who are those 6? Let's say there's 10 or 12, like there would be this year, tightening that list down, having a discussion about whether the transfers are going to be a part of it. And the answer is yes. Other years you might have 4. And you're looking at, okay, there's a couple guys going FCS. What does that look like? Asking people who we respect and trust what they think of a player's potential ceiling, right? So it's a recruiting item. Like, it's not necessarily these are the 6 guys that we expect to be the very best high school football players in the state this year, because it's hard to quantify line play, for example. So, like I do a bulk of the choosing. There's been years again where you'll ask around because you're trying to pinpoint where things are at. I think this year it was pretty easy, to be candid with you. We had a really, really strong list of players, and we chose from that. There probably does come a point where you can go from 6 to 8, but we haven't done it because we feel like there's power in that Super Six.
Sam, I think within that definition, I think maybe the only guy that people would have maybe just a little bit of question about in terms of offers and ceiling and things like that would be a guy like Wyatt Liebentritt, who is committed to a Big Ten school and a very good and productive high school player. How close was he kind of in your selection process?
Close, very close. Yep. I'd say it was probably between him and 1 or 2 others. So very close. Yeah, he's a very, very good player. He's had a very good career, and I would say that was the other one that we considered probably the most.
Sam, as you're going through that selection process, and I know you talked about it being the top prospects and that evaluation, how much of that process, especially just for this year, just to be frank, I kind of want to address that just with Trey and Tay coming in, being the transfers in. You mentioned that they had to be considered, and being the type of prospects that they are. is there any type of conversation that goes in that, okay, so they are representatives now for this year's senior class, the state of Nebraska, but they hadn't played any high school football in the state prior to that. Was that in any of the discussion or conversation beforehand?
Yes, it was. But we had Christian Locatour back in, I think it was 2013. And Christian had played prior to his senior year at Lincoln Southwest elsewhere. Actually, I think that year we went up to 7. It's the only year we've done 7. I think that was 7 that year to accommodate Christian. So it was an interesting dialogue back then. But yes, yeah, we made the choice to accommodate transfers. And I think it would be odd not to. I think it would be, this is a person who's going to play their senior year in the state. In Trey's case, he's the best quarterback in America. To not have, or the highest rated quarterback in America. I feel like I've seen the number 2 guy at the Boneyard event. I think Trey's better than him. So yeah, I think it would have been, it is logical to me to include all of those players. Now, again, one of the things that I think can come up is that there's a perspective, and you guys are articulating it, obviously, of, well, we need to make sure that we're doing this from a taking care of Nebraska guys perspective. And I understand that. But the rules around the Super Six are not nearly as, rigid as that. So I understand the perspective of like, it should not include transfers. And yeah, that's part of the conversation for sure. But there wasn't any hesitation on my part to include them. I think it makes total sense. It's the nature of the sport today. We wouldn't, for example, if there was a preseason all Big Ten team and there was a transfer from some other school that was going to Nebraska, they would be on that preseason all Big Ten team, or any transfer for that matter. It wouldn't make any difference. Josh Hoover is Indiana's quarterback. He's not formally TCU's. So that's part of how that works. And I didn't have any hesitation doing that, but I totally understand the perspective of people like, well, we've played, or this person has played here 3 years and they've been really good. And, there's a platforming of guys that have actually never played a game in the state of Nebraska. And so I totally understand that. Would Trey Taylor and Tay Ellis be here if they weren't committed to Nebraska? I don't think so. So I think that's totally understandable and a valid perspective. But we have accommodated transfers before. We did here.
Sam, you mentioned the criteria for this list is not terribly rigid. There's sort of a general framework that you've explained, right? Within that kind of fluidity of the selection process, I think of a couple guys off the top of my head, and I don't think you guys were doing these back when Danny Woodhead was in the state. I think it started right after, if I remember correctly. But a guy like him, or a guy like Calvin Strong, and now a guy like Tay Jenkins presents what I would imagine are interesting conversations for you guys, where they don't have the college offers that other people in their class have, but very well are within the top couple of guys in their state. How do you work through those situations?
Yeah, the Super Six started before I got to the World Herald. Calvin Strong was on the Super Six. In the year that he was there. I'm going to say that Calvin was 2014.
That sounds right. Yeah. I think
so Calvin's year was Adam Holtorf, Tanner Borkart, Calvin, Deshaun Neal. Can't remember the last 2. I'm sorry. And it was maybe the best photo shoot we've ever done. We had them as like storefront. It's super cool. We did it downtown near a bus stop. It was great. That's one of the reasons I really remember it. Can't speak to Danny. Don't know how that would have been handled. Danny was 02, 03, somewhere there. And so, yeah, I mean, Tay-Tay's a great player. Yeah, for sure. And so we've always tried to be, straightforward with how we attack it and how we do it. And this was, again, a particularly strong year where they happen to be committed to Nebraska, but that's not always been the case. If Torrey Pittman had flipped to Miami, it wouldn't change anything about how we do this. So there's been years where I think last year, for example, only one of the six, and it was Jace Reynolds, was committed to Nebraska. And the other guys were committed all over the country. At that time, 3 of them were committed to Iowa State. They're not now. They're at Penn State. But so it isn't really related to Nebraska, but there happened to be 5 Nebraska commits this year, all of whom had multiple offers. And so, yeah, I totally understand that. Again, there's ways in which the production is somewhat taken into account, but it's ultimately a conversation about which of these players is headed to the highest collegiate level, or is already committed, or is most likely to do that. All that said, Calvin was part of it back in the year that he was there. I don't know that we had that many guys who were going to D1. Tanner Borkart, I think he ended up going and playing some Nebraska football for a bit.
I believe so.
But but simultaneously he decided to walk away from it. And at the time, I think we did the photo shoot. I'm not sure he was committed to Nebraska. I think he was kind of debating whether he was going to play basketball or football or what he was going to do. So we've had some FCS guys, Easton Stick back in 2014. I think Calvin was 2015, if I'm not mistaken, because I think Deshaun Neal was part of Nebraska's 2015 class. But so we've had FCS guys before. We had 2 in 2014, Easton Stick, and then Trey Carr, who was going to South Dakota State that year. And so it's a fun exercise. I think part of the question that we're always trying to debate, and this was another year where we had to kind of weigh it last year, especially too, is whether we go from 6 to 8. We begin to try to accommodate more people. And I think we keep coming back to just that the brand is the 6, and there's going to be years where if we go up to 8, and then we've got to find 8. And so we know that we can, I think at this point, the state of Nebraska is producing pretty consistently at least 6, oftentimes 8 to 10. And so we're able to do that. And if Trey and Tay had not transferred to the state of Nebraska to play here, then I think you would have seen us be able to pivot very easily to 2 other players, potentially both Wyatts. So yeah, I understand it. It's certainly something that comes out, and there's certainly a certain level of cortisol level that goes up when Trey and Tay are on it. Let me say this, that if you could imagine a transfer caring more about their situation at their new school, I can't. Trey Taylor really cares. I think it matters to him. I think he has not closed the deal on a title where he was from. I think he is going to be moving here. Well, he's going to be going down to Nebraska in January. I think he's already kind of made that commitment, and he's made the commitment that he wants to be around the program. Can I say this? I think some of wanting to be around the program this fall, although I don't think he's overtly strategic, there's some understanding to why. Because, if Calandria has an incredible season and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and roll the dice with the NFL, Trey's going to be in a competition right away with TJ and Danny. And if Calandria has a great season and says, I'm going to run it back, Trey's going to be in a competition with TJ and Danny for number 2. And again, so I understand why he's here. And I just don't, it's hard to imagine anybody being able to care more than he does. The conversation, and we haven't written this yet, but like the conversation that he and I had about Millard South and West Side, because I talked to him about, look, everybody knows that there's this game in October that's a big deal. And coincidentally, it happens to be on a bye weekend for Nebraska. I wish they'd put the game at Memorial Stadium. They're not going to do that, but I wish they would. Because
at
I
least
think
ESPN, we could try that.
I'm serious. Like, I wish they would, because I think you would get Memorial Stadium would get some money out of it. Nebraska but I'm not sure they can do it. I don't know. The point being that, like, his understanding of West Side is high. Like, his understanding of Millard South is high. His understanding of what Millard South was last year is high. He doesn't, like, he didn't make a big whole deal about Jet, but he was like, but let's look at the things that Jet had around him. And so he's very specific about that. And he's like, well, I know, he's like, I think that we've got more talent at receiver than people think, even if we don't have a guy like Isaac Jensen. Like, he knows a lot about it. So, like, I think there's a sense of ownership on his part. Tay Ellis is a really captivating personality, and he will be a fan favorite. He's a funny kid and really a natural, just sort of a natural personality. And so, like, I really liked Tay's fun. And but Trey's absolutely, he's all the way invested, and he will enrich this season of high school football in the state. Like, he will make it a richer affair, because he's here, because he's going to he cares, and he's going to invest in it, and he'll probably say something that people don't love. And so I think he's probably upped the game of Nebraska high school football. That's my sense of it anyway.
Sam, have you started to, I guess, mentally prepare yourself for, I mean, we've really never experienced anything like that outside of the whole Super Six conversation, but just the entire Trey Taylor experience in the state of Nebraska. Like, this is totally unprecedented, right? Just in terms of the level of recruit and being committed to Nebraska, playing their high school football here. Like, I'm not sure that there was a precedent for this.
No, only precedents really are Hunter and Chucky in basketball, and of course those arenas were smaller.
I mean, maybe Eric Crouch, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Millard North in '96 they were a USA Today top 25 team going into that season. Eric had an incredible junior year, and his senior year I think they played Millard South. I think they lost to Millard South right off the jump that year, but they were a top 25 team, and everybody knew that Eric was great, right? Because I'm not sure there had been a better single quarterback season than his season in '95, and I can't rattle off the stats anymore, but it was like 1,800 yards rushing, and it was an obscene season. He was an incredible player, and so. Sure. Yes. I don't think that there was the social media component though. So, like,
well, and the recruiting age was totally different, right?
Oh,
like, it was just a totally different landscape. But that's the only, like, just from a national scale to be playing here and going to Nebraska, that's the only one I can even think of that's close.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. Now, to be clear, people have seen a player of Trey's caliber, and that was Jet last year. That's a very, very good player.
Yes.
And even if I said, well, look, if you put them both on the same field, maybe I'd go with Trey because I like Trey's release a little more. I don't know. Like, I think he's got a really good release, and I think he's got a little bit more velocity on the ball. Jet's is one of the greatest, maybe the greatest high school football player in the state's history. And so, top 5, right? I don't know that there's a lot of argument about that. So, like, Millard South fans will be going to the stadium on Friday, and they will actively be comparing the nation's number one quarterback to the guy that just left, and it won't be an illegitimate comparison. It'll be fair. So I think so there's that. But no, other than that, we haven't really seen it. I do wish they were playing a game in Lincoln, and they won't unless they go to the state championship. A lot of their games are at Buell, so their road games, I think, and Westview and in St. Louis. And then their other games are home games. They're just at Buell. So, they'll be on the other side, the small side of Buell versus, well, I don't even know. Maybe they'll be on both sides
of Buell.
I was going to say, I don't think they're containing them to the small
There's
side.
probably going to be people that show up. Yeah, like I think some people are going to show up and they might sit on the Millard North or Millard West side and they're there to watch Trey Taylor. And they're going to wear red, Husker red, and nobody's going to know the difference. And Millard North's got a great, Millard North and Millard West have great fan bases. But even they are going to be like, look, I'm also a Nebraska fan. I'm here to see if Trey Taylor's good. Now, there's going to be people that are there to watch the two Nebraska commits on Millard North side, too. So, and then there's kids that are younger that potentially could be, D1 guys going forward. So, no, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Again, a lot of their games are going to be at Buell, so it's not going to be like this road show. They're going to have a couple of road games. I can't remember if they have another one, but it feels like they have 5 road games. 2 of them are at Buell. One of them is in St. Louis. No one will be there. And then 2 of them are at Westview and Elkhorn. So it'll be, those games will be fun because he'll be on a different turf in Nebraska. But no, I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I could be wrong about this. I have been, there have been people that have told me, Tay Ellis is just okay. I think he's pretty good. And I actually think he's going to be really good. I think he's got a twitch to him that's impressive. I think he gets off the ball pretty well. Now maybe it'll turn out that he doesn't have the season that everybody thinks he can, but I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to show that he's a good player. So I think people will go out and I think they're going to be pretty impressed by him. And I don't think most people think about, because there's been some really good receivers come through this state, including Xavier Watts, who went on to become a great defensive player, but he was a great receiver when he was here. But Xavier Batts, there's been great receivers in the state. I think Tay's going to be among them. I really do. I think he's got a natural get off on the line of scrimmage. He can run after the catch. I think he grew up in Texas, so he's played the game at a high level and practiced it at a high level. So I think both of them are going to jump off the page, so to speak. And Trey's going to be very good. I don't know if he's going to be as good as the guy that preceded him, but I think he's going to be very good.
Sam, just to wrap up the Super Six conversation that we're having, it hit me halfway through that I was just curious about how the selection process went, how, Ravi mentioned obviously Wyatt at Scott, but you bring up Wyatt Fry from Lawrence Nelson. If nothing else, this Super Six conversation still highlights the best players in the state, even if they aren't a part of the six, right? Like, you have people who are making arguments for other great players, and I think that it's just one of those great problems to have, and I'm glad I'm not in your shoes that have to make these type of decisions, but I am glad that it is still highlighting and people are making arguments for the talent that's still being produced across the state. So if nothing else, I see it as a net win and positive that the state of Nebraska's got 2 high-profile players that are coming in that want to be a part of the in-state university, but you also have different levels of great players that are still being represented or respected.
For sure. I totally agree with you, and I appreciate you saying that. I think that's absolutely true. And as a reminder, the All-Nebraska team that Stu and coaches, the way that Stu can explain his process, and I encourage you to have him on, that Stu puts together in December is a representation of the very best players in the state of Nebraska as measured by what they did on the field. And so, I think there's been a handful of 3-time all Nebraska honorees, and they didn't necessarily have the best college careers. It was that what they did on the field was what got them acknowledged. And there's a guy at a high D1 basketball school who was not all Nebraska in basketball, right? A couple years ago. Didn't complete his high school career here, but that was the call that was made because going by the work on the court, and so but if we had and we're probably going to introduce a winter sports 6. I don't know that it's probably going to be a 5 because that's basketball, but we're going to introduce that soon. where it will be, the top basketball prospects in the state. And here's my guess. My guess is that will generate much more conversation even than football. Because when you start talking basketball, I think people in the state get really fired up. Not that football doesn't do that, but I think basketball really does it. This is a great high school basketball state. It's a great high school football state too. But there's a college football program in the state that gets a lot of that attention, and we talk about that all the time. In basketball, it's very intense among that community of folks who really love the sport at that level. So when we do that, I'm curious to see how people react and respond, because it's going to be an intriguing conversation, because there isn't necessarily 5 high D1 on the boys and the girls side. So we do the volleyball too now. We introduced the volleyball back about 6 years ago. And so we got the volleyball Super Six as well. And this year was a great year for those gals too. Really strong year. And next year is going to be the best, probably the strongest Super Six we've ever had on the volleyball.
I was going to say, I have a good idea of who's going to be on there. I can name at least 2.
Oh man. It's really good this year.
Yes.
We did not have this back when Nora and Lindsay Krause were playing. We just didn't have it. I think it was like the year before. They were the last year where we didn't have it. But I'm not exaggerating. Reagan Woolraff is one of the best that there's been in a really long time. Now, she plays at Elkhorn North. She's going to Creighton here next year, and she was part of that team, and she's one of the best ever. A big time player. And next year, Shayla obviously will be on that if she doesn't transfer out of the state, but like, she's a big time player. So yeah, there's been some really special players that have been a part of that list, and that is a lot of fun to do as well.
That is Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, appreciate you letting us grill you a little bit on the Super
Of course.
Six. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I love it.
Great stuff as always. We always love seeing those when you put them out. We appreciate it. We encourage everybody to go check it out as well.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Sam.
That is Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. A lot of spirited discussion, both here and on the chat. A lot going on there.
No kidding.
I think I understand. Obviously the college part is
I'm glad he came out directly and started with that, because
he said it's a recruiting device first and foremost, which makes a ton of sense.
That resets the entirety of the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it does. Yeah.
And he makes a very good point in, like, with previous years, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. In previous years, you don't have this stacked of a class.
Mm-hmm.
And so that does start to allow for...
I mean, arguably last year you could have put just 6 South players on there.
You really could have. I mean, legitimately. And there's, there's been years where, either West Side was super stacked or Miller North was super stacked. 2019, you probably could have put 5 or 6 Bellevue West guys on there, right? Like, there are varying... And by the nature of prospects in the state of Nebraska, you have some very different years and very different classes. And so it is very hard to compare year to year, where if you don't have, I mean, there's been years, I remember, I don't know that there were 6 total Division I recruits in classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Much less power conference. And so then you do start to introduce other conversations about,
not to also disparage from the fact that the Omaha World Herald will also recognize people that are across the river in Council Bluffs or in some of the other areas.
Yeah, and they've been pretty clear. It's like, hey, they're part of our main reading area,
Mm-hmm.
like that's or our main coverage area, whatever they call it. And so, I didn't have a problem with Fedoni when he was allowed, or Max Dugan when he was allowed, and like, I don't have a problem with that either. So I do think the most interesting part of this was the transfers in, and not because I do think they're unique, because they specifically transferred in. Like, it's not like they just happened to move here. You know what I mean? Right? It wasn't like the example he gave from 2013. If I remember correctly, he didn't move here. Christian didn't move here in order to be closer to the state where he was going to play football. I don't believe he played for Nebraska, if I recall correctly. This is a different circumstance, because they literally came here because of football.
Yeah.
And now it's not like their parents just, they got new jobs and now they live here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that makes it feel a little different, but I do understand the precedent of, this is a recruiting tool, which he was very clear about, and that, hey, we've let transfers in before, if the NSAA is not going to distinguish between why people transfer, then why should we?
Yeah, and I mean, when you said it that way and you say it as it's a top prospect or a top, outgoing, essentially high school senior class, then yeah, that makes sense to me. If that's the parameters, that's completely fair. I get it. But it is one of those that in terms of how we see the sports, and especially how this desk in general has been able to try to elevate and evaluate and also discuss and, prop up some of the high school players that are in the state, there is something that, it's one of those that we like our own. It's the same thing with Nebraska football, right? Like we're always rooting for the in-state kids a little bit harder,
100%.
right? If it would have been Jet Tamala at Nebraska instead of Trey Taylor, would more people be bought in? Maybe. I don't know. Like it'd be tough to say. It'd be a 50-50 because Trey Taylor himself is such a hurricane of a force. He's the number one quarterback in the country. It's hard to deny that that's the person that you want. But there would be a good section of people who would say, if it was Jet Tamala and he was at Nebraska right now and they didn't have the opportunity to get Trey Taylor, a lot of people would have been like, yeah, we've got our quarterback because he's from here. Yeah. That's who we wanted.
I think it's a really interesting situation that I do think is totally unprecedented.
Yeah.
Both in the quality of player playing their senior season in the state of Nebraska that is committed to Nebraska, right? There's a debate going on in the comments right now of who's better, Trey or Jet. And honestly, I don't know that there's a way of telling. I think they've got sort of different skill sets despite both being very highly touted quarterbacks. Trey's more mobile, obviously, and I do think has maybe the better raw tools as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Jet over the last 2 years became very, very polished.
Yeah.
He became a really, really polished and ready to go quarterback, even if his physical ability. Now, I haven't seen whole games. I've seen way more of Jet Tamala than I have of Trey Taylor at this point, so I don't want to get too deep into that. Basically, all I've seen of Trey is a couple games and mostly highlights, right? So I don't want to paint with too broad of a brush here, but I do think they're different prospects, and so it's hard to say one better than the other. And we haven't seen Trey play against the similar competition that Jet has.
Yeah.
Right. So
let's also be fair too. I mean, this is a unique time in the state of Nebraska's history that at the high school level, we have had an elite run of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like truthfully, like even at the high prospect level, you go Zane Flores, who committed to Oklahoma State. He was the highest quarterback prospect since Eric Crouch. And then you go down to Anthony Rizak, who walks on to Notre Dame. And then he's obviously now at South Dakota State, but he was the winningest quarterback in Nebraska high school football history at the time.
And we haven't even mentioned Braylon Edwards.
Stop saying Braylon Edwards.
Listen, I love me some Michigan wide receivers. Big Mario Manningham guy too. Braylon Warren, who is committed to an SEC school, 4-star quarterback, has been in Elite 11 camps. This is a guy that also, when you're talking about an unprecedented run of quarterback talent in the state of Nebraska, you have to throw him in there as well. And not just throw him in there, he's very much a part of this conversation.
Yeah, so you throw Braylon Warren right after following Anthony Rizak, you get Jet Tamala that's in there. I mean, we kind of even forget that Gage Stenger was a quarterback at Millard South, and they had a pretty decent run when he was there too, obviously not winning too many titles. And I know Rico's going to try to throw in a couple of Bellevue West quarterbacks in there too. You can throw Danny Kalen, who's now, once again been to 2 different Power 4 programs.
Cole Payton, who's in the NFL.
Yeah, Easton Stick, who is also had a decent career in the NFL. Sebastian Hars, we mentioned, was a quarterback for Scotts Bluff, who ended up in the NFL. I mean,
you just had a really good run of quarter. I mean, really for the last, Easton was 10 years ago almost now. So basically the last decade.
Yeah, if you want to start with Cole Payton, Easton Stick, work your way back.
Yeah, you basically have a decade of really, really good quarterback play here in the state of Nebraska.
Those two were so good.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, I remember the conversation around Easton Stick and whether or not Nebraska should offer him and whether his skill set matched or whatever, or whether he was good enough. It's like, well, apparently he was good enough.
And again, I don't want to make this a whole small school conversation or anything like that too, but in terms of prospects and guys who went on to have great careers and who went to represent the state and all that sort of stuff, that's who we're talking about. But even on the smaller level, you had a guy get over 10,000 career yards in Ethan Shaw from Sandy Creek. Cam Seeley is right up there with him. You have Aiden Keister from Neely Oakdale. Now you've got more guys. Wyatt Fry is a quarterback at Lawrence Nelson who's going to play tight end at Northwestern. These are all athletes or guys that we've had a really, really good run of guys who are putting it not only out on the field here in Nebraska, but then also taking it to the next level, or at least, parlaying that into big offers, big effects, and that sort of, it's incredible.
Even a guy like Heinrich Harburg.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, yeah. We forgot Heine.
We forget about Heinrich Harburg because his career at Nebraska was so strange. Right. But really highly productive and talented quarterback when he was in high school as well. Like, there's just a lot. There's been a really good run here for the last 10 years. And that's not, not to say that there weren't some really good high school quarterbacks before that, but it was a lot of guys that would change positions.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, this is the best athlete on this team. He's going to go play somewhere else. Like, not to make everything about Millard North, but they had a very big run of like, hey, Adam Shada was an all Big Ten corner at Iowa.
Yep.
And then Jeff Tarpinian goes and plays linebacker at Iowa, plays in the NFL for a little while. Like, you had several of these guys, and not just Millard North guys, but that was very common where it's like, hey, the best athlete on the team is going to play quarterback because that's what happens in high school a lot. And then you're going to go play somewhere else in college because, you were running a triple option or whatever system in high school, or it's like, hey, you just don't have the skill set. And you get that even, like Carter Nelson played all over the field in high school, right?
There
like
wasn't a position he didn't play.
Yeah. And so
I don't think he played center, but
but he did take some snaps, right?
Yes.
Like that was
he had 7 other positions that he was a part of. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that going on as well, but it's just and it makes me happy for the state of high school football in Nebraska that you can have a conversation about this where some of the most productive players in the state aren't going to be the best prospects. And you can have a conversation of like, well, maybe we should move it to 8. And where, again, for a lot of time, this is, mid to late 2000s, even early 2010s, where it was a struggle to find 6 guys with Division I offers.
Yeah. And Sam said that too, that there was a lot of times that they went into FCS or they would just have to say, there was a couple that we went through last night. We were trying to go back and find our deep dive that there was a couple of in-state Nebraska guys that was 2, 3, and then the other 3 they had to supplement with guys that were Iowa-based players that are part of the Super Six. And I'm sure that the Omaha World Herald would directly tell you and just say, you know what, we're comfortable because, like you said, it's our coverage area. It's who we write about. We're comfortable putting whoever's in our writing area. But there is something about the fact that I'm sure that the Omaha World Herald would be very, very happy if they were all in-state Nebraska people.
Sure. And it just, guys like Fedoni and Max were too prominent to ignore. Yeah. But there's been some lean years. And so it's nice to see the quality of football in the state be where it is, especially, I think I can't remember who put it out. It might've been Max Preps, where overall participation in football in the state of Nebraska has declined.
Oh, that's right. The USA Today article. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, USA Today.
Turned out it was closer to like 14 or 13%. I think Stu did the math on it because they had it at like 39%, which simply was not correct.
That dramatic, but even with the overall numbers declining, the quality has been really, really good. So that's good to see.
Well, for us, just to wrap up this conversation, for us, it's always about, I'm big on rooting for the state as a success, and whoever carries the torch of the state and wants to be a representative of the state and talk well about Nebraska when they get the chance. And I understand not everybody has the best high school experiences or whatever the case may be, but a lot of people from the state are proud to be from here. And so if they choose to extend their careers elsewhere or have success and choose that it's not within this state, I'm happy for them because they're choosing something for themselves and it's still representing all of us. I feel like there's not many opportunities that I've seen where somebody leaves this state and is immediately just like, oh yeah, I know I hated my time in Nebraska. I'm never going back. I don't want to give back. I don't want to do any of that sort of stuff. I mean, even just like month and a half ago, we saw Chucky come back to Omaha and he was doing community events, giving out free food, all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, Harrison Phillips comes back all the time, famously did not play at Nebraska. He comes back and does camps all the time. Like, it's just great to see people that represent this state well. And I think that's one thing that you and I both have in common is like, we just like it, even from opposite ends of the state, literally. We just really like it when people represent the place we're from well. And so, obviously, you root for all the kids that made the Super Six. You root for all the kids that didn't make the Super Six that you hope have great careers as well. And, you hope a guy like Tate Jenkins gets the recognition in terms of offers that he deserves at some point, because I mean, that's a really good football player. Yeah. And at some point you hope he gets, and then you've got guys that we didn't talk about that college decisions are still up in the air, like a Kylon Haney, which could be a really good player for Millard North this year. There's lots of really good football players in Nebraska. It's honestly, this is one of the high school football seasons I've looked forward to the most because there is so much going on, and I just feel like every week is can't miss.
Yeah, and we're also going up. There's going to be a lot of players that will step up too that we're not even talking about right now.
Yeah,
so it'll be good.
Haven't even talked about. Let's take a quick break here. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We will be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, they've worked really hard, but the true test will be what we do in the games, right? No one. Worst things we hear a coach say, "Hey, we practice really well," and then you get beat, badly. So at the end of the day, this is a production, performance-based business. So they work really hard. They are extremely detailed, trying to learn a new way of doing things. Because every team is new, every season is new, and certainly every head coach you work for and every university you're at's new. So I've been very pleased with them, been very pleased with the staff. But to me, it's how you handle the season, how you handle game planning, how you handle the rigors of being here, the travel, the weather, all those things, like who could be the same guy every day. And so far so good, but a lot remains to be seen.
Was that 4th set of the Nebraska-Texas A&M match one of the best sets you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I've seen a lot of great sets.
Yeah.
But that's right there at the top, and it was agony.
I know.
But I mean, it was, you're like, come on. Mm-hmm. But that's just 2 great teams going at it, and that's what's so great about this sport.
Where were you watching it?
I was in my house.
You were in your home. Yeah. You didn't
I was thinking about coming but I would be so nervous. I couldn't sit there. I mean, I wanted to go, and they asked me to come and do some radio stuff, and I just said no. I can't sit through a regional. The regional is the most stressful weekend of the year.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Reminding you to give our friends over at Next Gen Mail Medical a call, 402-614-9700. Whatever it is you need to get feeling your best, they've got you covered. I was a little bit sore from the sand volleyball. Yeah, I was. There was some diving that I think was the big issue there. When you're like full extension, you get a little, a little sore,
especially in the shoulders. Yeah, the shoulders,
shoulders, a little bit of core. But they got me on those peptides over there. They've got me recovering, feeling good.
I do know what I need to go check in with Next Gen now.
What's that? What do you need?
I think I have a permanent cramp in my calf. I think it's
good.
Maybe they have like a different type of creatine I can take, so I'm not DNPing myself constantly. So
Yeah, you can't.
Don't pull a medal out right now.
No, this
What
is
are you doing?
This is our third place sand volleyball medal from Hurrdat from the Omaha Corporate Games.
I don't really think you got to show off third place.
Why don't you put it on the chicken?
Listen, because I think you'd fall over.
Deshaun the chicken.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
No, listen, it was third place. I was very impressed with our performance, especially considering.
Call Next Gen Mail Medical.
Yeah, 402-614-9700. Especially considering there were a lot of teams at a lot more height than us.
I also need some of those peptides because we played sand volleyball at the event that I was at on Saturday, and
eat a banana.
Real sore.
You struggling?
Wait, you played sand volleyball too?
Yeah.
Where?
But not for the squad. Wow.
No.
Wow.
No. It was a. It was
with my
one
kids'
of the
friends' parents.
They're really they're my friends too.
No, it's not, I don't just hang out with them because I'm forced to. I really actually do like them.
Nope, sorry, it's Be Nice Rika week. My bad.
Not how
I
I
can't
sound.
believe he did that to you.
That's
didn't-
not how I sound.
I didn't.
I know you didn't.
sign up
I
for Be
agree.
Nice to Rico.
You're fine. You don't have to.
Thank you.
No, it was our friend's birthday, so we all went out and we played some sand volleyball.
Corn Raider Avery didn't play. Avery didn't play.
She was at media availability, I think.
Yeah,
is my best
Nebraska
guess.
had some media availability. She
Did
was
Dawson
unavailable.
play?
Dawson was not.
Dawson was
out
at
of
a
town.
bachelorette party. Yeah, so she was unavailable.
We might have, if we had Dawson, we might have won.
If you had Merritt, you would have won.
Yeah, for sure.
Was
Who
Kate there?
famously does work for us.
Again, why was she not there?
I don't know.
It's dumb.
I'm pretty sure because remember when she got
Remember?
drafted by the Atlanta Vibe in the
Mhm.
MLV her first year, and she's from Alabama, and she like became the head coach of her alma mater. I think she's still coaching there.
Stop making excuses for her.
She was here like 2 weeks ago. I'm sure she's still here.
If she wanted to be here, she would have been there.
Yeah. If she wanted to, she would. Rico.
Mhm. Come on, Rico. What are you defending
I don't-
Merritt for?
Honestly, I don't think she likes Ravi.
I don't know.
That's not hard to do. So,
I don't think that would stop her from playing.
you think that her passion for hating Ravi is higher than her passion for winning?
Also, don't know if she can. Like, what if the Supernova's like, hey, don't play sand volleyball?
Then we'll say she's our employee.
You got me.
See?
Also, technically, most of those professional contracts have like their own sport like clauses. This is her own sport. This has to be allowed.
See? Come on.
Technically, it is different.
I mean, she's not in Alabama drinking like Shirley Temples. At least we're just, trying to keep someone active. Sorry, Rico.
She's not Embiiding this thing up. You know what I mean?
My bad.
Did you enjoy your Shirley Temple on Saturday?
No, it was terrible.
I watched them.
You had a Shirley Temple?
I ordered a Shirley Temple for him.
You
because I was
ordered
like,
a
what a
dirty
prank.
Shirley.
Dirty Shirley, my bad. I
And
ordered
it
Dirty
was-
Shirley, and it was strong.
It was
I watched the lady.
Extra dirty.
She put the vodka in the bottom, and then she topped it with vodka at the end. And I was like, oh, I've never seen that trick before.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It was not quality vodka either.
You had a vodka sandwich, is what you had.
Pretty much.
I had a vodka Shirley sandwich, and it was not high quality vodka. It was. It may have come out of a plastic bottle. It's hard to tell, but that's the vibe it was giving. I
That's
was
the
like,
best
oh,
kind.
this is not good. I mixed it with several other things.
Yeah. It became very diluted by the
I was
end of the
just
day.
pouring some stuff in there, just trying to, CalJam Merritt was doing a bunch of stuff for Hurrdat 1 over the summer, our community-based platforms.
Wow,
and
Kel
so she
Jam,
was
way to say you don't watch any of the Hurrdat 1 videos.
So she was doing a bunch of stuff for that. It was good.
I think Keldrum was just asking genuinely. That was kind of mean, Rico. He just wanted to learn, and he just asked a good question.
Nope.
What's wrong with that?
Rico, are all your kids' parents friends that aren't your real friends? Are they like bullying you? Is this why you're in such a bad mood?
No, you guys bully me.
I don't think that's
They're nice to me.
I haven't yet.
That's why they're my friends.
I don't think they're your friends.
Sorry, I have to sneeze. Wait.
Pineapples.
Wait for it.
Nope. Okay, it's not coming. There you go. That's
All right.
tough.
Look at the lights.
Is that how that works?
It stops you from sneezing.
Oh, well, now I can't see. I was staring at lights. I wanted to sneeze. I wanted to get rid of this demon in my body.
I want that sneeze to stay with you for the rest of the day.
Okay, that's just mean.
That is really mean. The Hot Danger says they used to tell Manute Bull to drink beer all day to try and get him enough calories to gain weight. Maybe the Shirley Temple is the next level healthy version of that. The problem is, though, Joel Embiid doesn't need to put on weight.
Why is that?
Because
Are you calling him fat?
He's already pretty thick. He's not like
He's
I
kind
mean,
of calling him fat.
He's not like
in this day and age, you're going to body shame Ravi.
He's
That's
not
really
like
mean.
Luca, but like
double body shame. My goodness.
Do you remember when Luca just said, "Oh, I stopped drinking beer," and he lost 20 pounds or
Like,
something like that?
immediately?
Yeah, it's very funny how quickly that
he had to
fell
get
off.
traded from his franchise, and he just bought a mansion. He's like, "Oh, maybe I should stop drinking beer so much."
That's tough.
That
What's
was what
healthier, a pitcher of Shirley Temple or a pitcher of beer?
honestly from
The amount of sugar that's in a Shirley
That's
Temple,
what I'm saying.
the grenadine.
I was gonna say, I think
and Sprite. Yeah, it's probably the beer.
maybe beer. It's a lot of sugar in a Shirley.
Yeah,
Temple.
more fun.
It
to a
depends
beer.
on the beer, probably. If it's like a light beer or like a.
What kind of beers
Listen,
they
if
drink
he-
over in Iowa there, Brandon?
Stop making fun of him.
I'm not. I'm asking. He's
being
our
mean.
he's our Iowa expert.
A lot of Busch Light, and now
Right.
Yingling. You could get Yingling in Iowa.
Yeah, I was drinking Busch Light this weekend, and Ravi was making fun of me. He's like, "Oh, back to your roots, huh?" I was like, "Okay,
Well, that's your jam.
yeah,
You started with a seltzer,
yeah, I did." And then I couldn't keep doing that.
and then you were like, "I'm going Busch Latte."
I had to. Yeah, just went down like water. It was good. It was good stuff.
I mean, that makes sense. It
Yeah.
does.
And then your friend kept calling me racist. A new person would walk in and she'd be like, "All right, this is Robbie's friend. He's racist." What? Why would you lead off with that?
Love
And what
that
did I
for her.
do to earn that? She just every new person I met, it was here's Robbie's friend. She didn't even remember my name. It was really bad when your wife was like, Texas City. What's your name? We've hung out a couple of times. You should know. I sit next to your husband every day.
Did she
Saying
really say,
Texas
"Oh,
City's
Texas"?
funny.
Yes.
That's amazing.
She wanted to call me Dallas. That's the problem.
And
Houston?
No.
And then we did spend the next like 10 minutes calling him stupid Texas town names.
Yeah, it was,
We landed on Waco, I think.
yeah, Waco
I
was
was gonna say,
fine.
"What's up, Antonio?"
Saying? But
You're
then your wife went to the bar and I had I tried to close my tab the first time and then I got bullied into staying longer. And she was like, "Oh, were you actually named after the city?" And I was like, "No, it was named after the hurricane." She was like, "How bad was the hurricane?" And I had no idea. She looked it up. It killed a lot of people, Hurricane Austin. So that kind of adds up.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. She was looking up the numbers and she kept rattling off more numbers. I was like, "Oh, no."
That's
She goes, "Do you know what ended up in Michigan?" No. What?
Travis is calling him Waco feels very offensive. How?
Because of the mass suicide that happened there?
Lots of stuff have happened in Waco that wasn't just the mass suicide.
Okay, name another positive thing that happened in Waco.
Robert Griffin III.
Okay.
He
During
won
the
a
Art
Heisman.
during the Art Briles era? That's what you
Well,
wanted to bring up? Nice. Thank you.
Magnolia Farms.
What?
What's Magnolia Farms?
That's the Gaines people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chip and Joanna Gaines. They're like the house people.
Aren't they racist?
No.
I don't know.
Oh no, that's a different HGTV lady. Sorry. Hard to differentiate between all of them.
No. I mean, they live in Texas, so I can't really for sure say yes or no.
Yeah, there's simply no way to know.
Travis, I haven't been to Waco. I do generally avoid it on my trips to Texas.
You should have called me Padre, South Padre Island. Should have done that.
Big Padre guy.
Big Padre.
I was close to calling you Lubbock.
That's a fat joke, and I don't like that.
How was that a fat joke?
You don't. No one goes up to another guy and just be like, "What's up, Lub?"
Lubbock sounds like a fat guy name.
Yeah, thank you. Like you would call your offensive lineman Lubbock, right?
Big Lubbock.
Oh, we got Big Lubbock coming in. Like when you're running the Maryland die, they're like Lubbock, like bring them all in.
Yeah,
Tight
100%.
formation.
Honestly, great call.
That's not how I intended it.
Don't call my food wet, and don't call me Lubbock.
Everyone, Lubbock on the goal line. Lubbock on the goal line.
If you didn't eat so much wet food, you wouldn't have to be called Lubbock all the time. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We've got Adam McClintock coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, again, just coming to mind, a guy like Anthony. I mean, he's just a dog, to be honest with you. I mean, he plays extremely hard and shows up, and you're gonna get the same thing out of him every day for sure. Cam Linhart, I mean, that dude knows one speed. I mean, Cam is is full go, full throttle each and every play until exhaustion, and then some more. And so, I mean, those guys, just at the top of my mind stick out. But again, my goal for the room is like, this is how the edges play. I want to pour into all those guys, and I want the room to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Because that's where I take my personal pride. And so, again, I'm trying to push all those guys to run to the ball at extreme level and flash on tape through their effort and energy and physicality. And so, we have 2 weeks still, almost 2.5 weeks. So we'll continue to grow.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
I think expectations here have always been high. It didn't take us to win a state championship for that to be our goal or anything like that. We've always strived for that, from when I first got here in 2019. And, we've been in the semifinals, I think 4 or 5 times during that time and just came up short a lot. And so finally getting over the hump last year was a big, big deal. And we hope that helps springboard us into it again, getting that experience of what it's like to win that semifinal game and kind of get that monkey off your back and then get the experience of playing in a state championship. And we were fortunate enough to win one. And, we just kind of hope that springboards us into this year. And this is a new team and every year's a new team. And, we have to be appreciative and obviously understand that the target's on our back, but our mindset doesn't change. And it's at the same time where, pressure's a privilege and we talk about that a lot. And these guys have done a great job and they've answered that call.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Adam McClintock from Matrix Analytical, our CFB professor. Adam, how are we doing this morning?
Doing good, guys. How we doing?
Doing all right. Can't complain. Other than us getting mad about Super Six, which I don't know if you have any analytics on high school football, but that's probably coming down the line, right?
Oh man, I'm staying out of that. I'm staying completely out of that universe, buddy. There's a whole lot that goes into that that numbers can't even talk about. So it's just that I'm staying in my lane.
Well, Adam, speaking of your lane, we were talking about some coaches on the hot seat in college football last week, and one of the names that came up and was Dion, because it seems like from a performance standpoint, he should be on the hot seat, but from sort of a narrative and what seems to be a realistic standpoint from the Colorado side of things, does not appear to be that his job is in grave danger. What do your analytics tell us about Dion versus how you see the job that he's done?
Well, you have to kind of, in every one of these situations, you have to kind of take what the coach has done relative to what the program was before he got there, right? So if you view the Colorado job, through that lens, the first year with Dion, there's a lot of pub behind him, right? First year wasn't as great as what maybe the initial pub was billing it out to be, but he did elevate that program in the eyes of national media. The second year was they finished in the top 25. Last year, of course, I think, and honestly, I think we've talked about this before. Everybody was kind of waiting to see what Colorado would look like after Shedeur and some of that first crop of guys he brought in moved on. And if last year was any indication, that the floor has kind of fallen out. And if he isn't on the hot seat at the end of this year, it should be next year, probably pretty quickly. But right now, he's still kind of riding on that initial wave of good pub Colorado got, and that second season he had where they did finish in the top 25 for the first time in over a decade.
Adam, when it comes to your model and numbers and things that you look at, when it comes to moving on from a head coach or coaching staff at the college football level, is there anything in your numbers that you can go back and say they were a year behind where they probably should have made this fire a little bit earlier? Or is it something you can project and predict where some of the guys that are on hot seats this year, and you can name a couple, I think one that we named with Dion, Luke Fickell's an obvious one, Mike Locksley in the Big Ten as well at Maryland. Are there any of those ones that the cord should have been cut a little bit sooner? Or is there something in your numbers that you can kind of analyze and say that looking back?
So we typically, when we talk to people about making the decision of whether to cut bait from a staff or not, it's usually we like to see a staff get at least 3 and if possible 4 years before you move on. The reason being, and it's that leash is getting a little shorter now with NIL and the ability to quickly flip rosters, but traditionally that is what we have told clients to do is, hey, you've got to at least wait 3 years to let this guy get what he is planning to do in place. And if the trajectory of the program is still not where you want to be after 3 years, then that's when you kind of cut bait and go. What we have seen is that programs that tend to hit the reset button too quickly, they seem to be the ones that never get their footing. You look at Auburn, you look at some of these other programs, Florida, that seem to be rotating coaches in and out, every 2 years, 2 or 3 years. That tends to put the program further back than not. They keep reaching for that, the guy who's going to fix it quickly, instead of giving the guy they have in place time to actually get their foundation set. One of the guys you mentioned, Locksley, though, he was one that probably should have been let go years ago.
Wait, multiple? Nice There's an S at the end of that year.
Yeah, not just last year, like multiple years ago, right?
Yes, yeah. It's the reason. So Mike Locksley, I get it. Maryland, they love the recruiting classes he's been able to bring in. They're the perfect example of a fan base that feeds off of that off-season hope of, hey, we got this really good recruiting class come in. Let's see what Mike can do with it. And it always is the same. They'll start off, winning 3 or 4 in a row, and then the back half of the schedule they fall apart. I think you guys had, my partner on, Dave Bartu, a few weeks ago, and he had some fun things to say about Mike Locksley as well. we were kind of in lockstep on that. Mike Locksley probably should have been let go after 2022 or 2023. 2023 specifically, because that was kind of the beginning of this downfall, and it was pretty obvious at that point he was not going to turn Maryland around.
Adam, when you're looking at kind of the narrative of the coaches that the national media thinks are on the hot seat, is there anybody that you look at and you're like,
yeah,
why
I can't hear you, Ravi?
Oh, is there? Can you hear me?
Hello? Adam, can you hear us now? Uh-oh.
Did we lose him?
I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
Oh no. Okay.
So just if you can, we'll try and get you back.
Okay. Why don't you guys pop him out and
dang, you almost had a really good question too.
I was thinking about it.
Now we just sit and hold. We wait.
Shane, why don't we pop him out and try and communicate with him and try and pop back in and see if we can figure that out here. Yeah, I think so. I'm curious to see if there are any names that we're not talking about that are just like unequivocally bad at their job, and they're like, "Hey, why are we still doing this with this guy?"
You know what I'm curious about, and I don't know if his numbers will show this or not, but do you think that there's something between like the different coaches that are in the different like conferences?
Headley just says Mike Loxley just hacked the stream.
Oh no! Could you imagine if Maryland took down Adam McClintock?
Like, absolutely not.
I think Adam.
We have him back.
I was going to say I think he's back in. Adam, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Do you think Mike Loxley just hacked your chat there for a second?
Absolutely. That's where I'm going with.
That's the smartest thing he's done as head coach. He took you down.
Didn't know he was that capable. Adam, the question I was working on asking was, obviously there's a national narrative about guys that are on the hot seat and things like that, but is there anybody within your analytics that you're just like, hey, this guy underperforms pretty consistently and we don't know why he keeps getting chances? Or is Loxley that guy?
Well, Loxley is that guy. he's kind of been that guy that we're like, okay, why is he still there? He's got Big Ten money. He does a pretty good job in recruiting, right? But he just can never get it going in the right direction. So yeah, he's front and center in that in kind of that realm. Another guy that we are kind of starting to look at that, was Mark Stoops from Kentucky, but that got dealt with this last year. He was a guy that, he survived on average for years. Let me think here off the top of my head who another guy would be in that position.
Adam, can I throw just a couple of names at you just to hear? Because so I think there's always this part of the conversation where I think we always assume it's guys who come into a program. We can use Roll as an example, right? He gets hired at Nebraska. He's been here now entering his 4th season, all that sort of stuff too. But there are some guys that have had longer leashes and they get diminishing returns after hitting a high point. And I think two of the guys, in my opinion, and maybe this fits with Ravi's question too, are like Dave Aranda and Lance Leipold. Like they're guys that I think still have some national like simmer when it comes to their name, just because of, hey, they turned around or they got to this certain point with their program, but we haven't seen that same success over a course of so many years.
Probably throw Mike Norvell in that conversation as well.
Yeah, and Mike Norvell's a great example. I mean, obviously they had like a huge stark and diminishing returns over the past few years, but are those some names that kind of fits with what we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually looking at Mike Norvell as what I was going to bring up, but I was just briefly going to look at his profile. Norvell is absolutely there. He peaked pretty quickly and now has really struggled to regain his footing. Dave Aranda could be placed in that same boat as well. I think he finally he hired Jake Spavital to run his offense, and he finally took the defense back over. So I think that kind of saved him a year or two here. We'll see what they look like this year. I think there's a lot of people who like Baylor. If he has another rough year, it could be problems with Dave Aranda and Waco. As far as Lance Leipold, once again, you kind of have to look at where the program was at relative to where it is now. Like I understand that, they peaked quickly and then now they've kind of tapered off as kind of a 6-win team, 5-6-win team. But you have to look at where Kansas was at. There was, before Lance got there, Kansas was a team that, they were struggling to get 6 wins in 3 years combined. So
yeah,
you have to you can't look at the program beyond what their recent history was before that coach was hired. Plus, he got Andy Kotelnicki back. We'll see what that looks like. I think everybody knows the sharp drop off when he left and went to Penn State. He kind of got the band back together there in Lawrence, and if he can get an upswing here, I think his job is still pretty safe.
Adam, speaking of guys that saw sharp drop offs when coordinators left,
no, I know exactly who this is going to be.
Let's talk about the Pat Fitzgerald of it all here, because I thought Jonathan Smith probably didn't get enough run at Michigan State, and then I did not think they upgraded with Pat Fitzgerald with the hire this offseason. That seems to be going. I know the national media loves Pat Fitzgerald, probably a Northwestern thing, but like, what do your numbers say on like a Jonathan Smith versus what the reality of Pat Fitzgerald is, not just the narrative?
They downgraded. they I get it. Jonathan Smith may have been a awkward fit in the Midwest because he is a West Coast guy, right? And I understand maybe that portion of it, but if you're going to make that move, at least try to get an equal coach or an upgrade. And that, I'm sorry, but Pat Fitzgerald, after Mike Hankwitz retired, as his defensive coordinator back at Northwestern, his teams fell off a cliff and never recovered. I mean, I think people like to paint this picture of Pat Fitzgerald as this guy who always was gritty and won, 6, 7, 8 games a year at Northwestern. Look at his past 3 or 4 years besides the COVID year. It wasn't a good picture. That's not exactly what it was. I think Michigan State made a mistake with that. I do like some of his staff hires, but I think that's going to put Michigan State further back than what they expect.
Yeah, obviously. So like LeVar Woods obviously was a huge part of that staff. So I am interested to see with what he did with his staff. But yeah, I totally agree with you on Pat Fitzgerald. The other guy that I think about a lot, and there's obviously not a lot of data with him at the college level. What do you guys see with Bill Belichick? Because that, I think, is a pretty good job, and he seems to just doing a disastrous job there.
What do we see? Have you ever seen a tire fire? That's kind of what we see. And it's funny because we cautioned North Carolina in that process to not deal with Bill Belichick because they're just the way he operates isn't good for college football, and we felt like he was going to use this as a way to get his son eventually the head coaching position, which now his son's off on leave anyway. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but he, upon before signing the contract with North Carolina, had a 400-page basically memorandum telling them his demands for the department. And anytime that your hiring of a guy is preceded by a 400-page document you need to read through and agree to, that's probably not a good situation. So they would have been a lot better off targeting, John Summerall at the time, or even give Jamie Chadwell a chance at a Power 5 school. Anything but going after a guy like Bill Belichick that has never been in college, and I frankly don't see how he would relate to college age kids anyway. So besides maybe the one he's dating.
I was going to say he relates to his girlfriend pretty well.
But
keep it professional.
But now you have the dynamic duo of Bill Belichick and Bobby Petrino on that staff. So that ought to be
what could go wrong.
Fun conversation.
Listen, if they split a motorcycle, that's a great movie.
Just ride in tandem, right?
I'd watch the tandem bike movie.
Who's riding sidecar on that situation?
You mean to tell me Wild Hogs 2 with Bill Belichick and Bobby Petrino wouldn't be a lot of fun? Hey, speaking of the Power 4 conferences, Adam, I'm curious your thoughts or what the numbers tell you about so many times we talk about the next group of 5 coach that's coming up who's going to get the next big offer, or one of those Power 4 coaches who takes their team to maybe a surprise college football playoff bid or competes for a conference title, one of those. Is there a Power 4 coach that is maybe at a lower tier school that is consistently overperforming maybe their expectation or where you value that program to be?
Well, I mean, one of the guys that we constantly bring up, and he's probably never going to leave this place, but Jeff Brom is always really, really good at Louisville. Nobody ever talks about Louisville, but if Florida State were to go after somebody right now, go after Jeff Brom. That guy's going to win you a lot of ball games, especially with what he could bring to Tallahassee. So he's definitely the first guy that comes to mind. Another guy that we really like at a Power 5 school is probably Kenny Dillingham has done well at Arizona State. I am anxious to see what he does kind of without the elite quarterback play he got last year. He's only in year 3 there. We like to see 4 years before we actually, grade somebody. Brent Key is kind of the same way. he has kind of rode the elite quarterback play for the past couple of years. We want to see him without that elite quarterback. So I know these guys. Willie Fritz at Houston is another one that we really like. He's getting up there in age. I get it, but he's been solid wherever he's went. He's got Houston. You know, I don't know if you remember where Houston was at before he took that over. They were struggling. It was a struggle in Houston. He's now got them to where some people have them at the top of the conference in the Big 12 this year. So Willie Fritz is another one that at a smaller Power 5 school that it would be interesting to see him at somewhere with a little more resources.
Not a power conference school, obviously, but do you have enough data on Jason Eck yet to kind of give a determination on where you think his next steps are?
Absolutely. Now, there's never going to be another Kurt Signetti. I want to put that out there. He's a unicorn. That just doesn't happen. But if you want the next big coach at the Power 5 level to make a huge impact, it's going to be Jason Eck. Jason Eck is a tremendous coach. You know, he immediately turned Idaho around when he went there. Idaho hadn't been to the playoffs in years, and he went there. And his first year, he took Idaho to the second round of the playoffs in FCS. So, and if you paid attention to what he's done in New Mexico really isn't a bastion of college football, if you know. And he's taken that outpost, and he's created a 8-9 win team immediately. It scares me to death he's going to end up back in the Big Ten as a Nebraska fan, because that would be a headache. That's just adding to the pile of coaches in the Big Ten that are just nightmares row.
Speaking of guys in the Big Ten that I think are added in this year that are kind of a nightmare, Michigan and Kyle Whittingham. You know, I've been a huge Whittingham fan forever, but obviously it's a clear upgrade over Sharon Moore, but like, do your numbers say that's even a better college hire than Jim Harbaugh was?
Yeah, initially, absolutely. Kyle Whittingham, that's one of the premier names in college football, right? We have him rated as the 5th best head coach of the Big Ten, which, the Big Ten conferences, the coaches of the Big Ten conference are ridiculous. It's the best coach conference in the country, and it's not close. So to put him that high immediately in the Big Ten is saying something. And his track record of being able to do it at Utah with, fewer resources. What is he going to be able to do in Michigan? I mean, that's nightmare fuel for some of the rest of the Big Ten as well, especially those in Columbus who have struggled with Michigan when Michigan has decided to play a physical brand of football. Kyle Whittingham is going to bring a physical brand of football, so I'm excited to see what he can do there. I love the coordinators he brought in. Jay Hill, who was at BYU for years and was the head coach at Coppin State for years before that. It's always put good defenses on the field. And then he brought his coordinator over from Utah, who, if he did what he did with Dampier last year at Utah, I am anxious to see what he can do with Underwood at Michigan. I think Michigan's going to be a fun watch this year. And really, nobody's really talking about Michigan on the national stage yet, but I'm interested to see how quickly that conversation flips when the season starts.
Adam, to stay in the Big Ten, between Penn State, Matt Campbell, and Bob Chesney at UCLA, which of those new hires can take their program and maybe, I don't want to say elevate because that's not fair to Campbell. The projection's not the same, but who do you think, maybe the easier way to say it, who has the longer runway? Is it between Campbell or is it between Chesney?
I think Chesney has the longest the longer runway of the two. I think he's got the higher ceiling at UCLA. Matt Campbell, essentially, we have him actually rated about exactly the same as James Franklin. So they just rehired the same guy, except Matt Campbell is not going to bring the recruiting wins that Penn State fans have craved 10 years under James Franklin. They're not going to have high recruiting rankings at Penn State. That's just not what Matt Campbell does. And I don't think they're going to get any more wins out of a Matt Campbell program than they were out of the James Franklin program. So that was one of the firings that we were extremely puzzled by. And, Virginia Tech benefited greatly from it, but I think Penn State fans are going to be a bit underwhelmed with what Matt Campbell has to do at Penn State. And it's not Matt Campbell's fault. He could win 19 games a year there and still underwhelm. So Bob Chesney, I think with his coaching prowess, I think, and he's kind of indoctrinated himself really well at UCLA already. I think his ceiling at UCLA is a lot higher, and he's going to have a lot more years to do what he wants to do there at UCLA, which is also one of the reasons why I think Chesney passed on Penn State to go to UCLA.
Adam, when you're looking at the best coaches in college football, let's take Cignetti out of it. Who are the next like 3 or 4 guys in your kind of rankings and analytics that that really kind of fight for that top spot? And I'm assuming Cignetti is one, so let's just take him out of the equation altogether, because as you said, he is a unicorn, and that I don't even know what to do with any of the information about Cignetti. We just put him over to the side.
Yeah, Cignetti, you're right. He is one. We'll sit him off to the side. The next is actually Ryan Day, which he gets a lot of flack, but all he does is win.
Yeah.
He just, I get it. He's at Ohio State. They expect him to win a national title every year, but that's unrealistic. So we have
real quick on Ryan Day, because you mentioned earlier you compare what the program was before they took over and who they are in general versus what that person's done at the program. So even in the context of how much Ohio State has won before, Ryan Day still elevates to number 2.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's pretty impressive, like within that context.
Absolutely. Well, that and, Urban Meyer, did great when he was at Ohio State. Obviously, he raised the tide for the rest of the Big Ten, but he did raise the tide for the rest of the Big Ten, and the Big Ten that Ryan Day is playing in today is tougher than the Big Ten that Urban Meyer inherited when he was at Ohio State. So he's doing similar results to Urban Meyer at Ohio State, playing against probably tougher competition. So you have to look at it through that lens as well. The third guy on the list is Kirby Smart. There's no surprise there.
Sure.
The next one may surprise some people, and he's come down quite a bit in the last couple of years, and he's kind of in a tough situation with Kalen DeBoer, who we have at 4. And there's a sharp cutoff between Cignetti, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and then that next tier where Kalen DeBoer starts. Dan Lanning comes next, and then Marcus Freeman. That's kind of rounds out our top 5 there after Cignetti.
Is there anybody either in your top 10 or 20 that you think would surprise people, or somebody that isn't in there that would surprise people?
So one of the ones that constantly gets brought up as a great coach, well, I guess he's not. Let me see here. Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian, everybody thinks of him as this great football coach, and he is a great play caller. But we have him. He's ranked 8th in the SEC.
Oh wow!
So as a head coach, because look at all the talent all the resources of talent that he has at Texas, and he still manages to lose to Florida or lose to these off the wall games he should never lose to. Notice that when he goes against equal talent, Texas struggles, and there's a reason for that. It comes down to head coaching decisions, and that's a lot on Steve Sarkisian. Doesn't take anything away from him as a play caller. We do have him as an elite play caller, but at the head coaching position, he is he's thought of a lot higher than what he actually is in our rating system.
There you go. That's Adam McClintock, college football professor, CFB professor from Matrix Analytical. Adam, appreciate the time as always. Great stuff. We'll talk again soon. Okay.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
That's Adam McClintock, shooting you straight from Matrix Analytical. I think a lot of people.
Mike Locksley's coming after him. He's got to be careful.
A lot of people like the tire fire answer with Bill Belichick as well. That's great stuff.
Yeah, he's making enemies across college football.
Listen,
well, luckily, make enemies with guys who are already halfway out the door.
Aren't going to be around very much longer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I thought the Steve Sarkisian answer was really interesting, because him and I have talked about Sarkisian before, how he is just a super high level play caller, but for the resources, for the talent he brings in as a head coach, like only okay.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how I feel about Sarkisian, right? Like I think he's really, really good as an offensive coordinator. I think as a head coach, his results have been mixed at best, especially considering the places he's been at, right? Like he's had a couple places in USC and Texas where he's like, hey, there's not really a ton of excuses not to win here.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately too, if it doesn't work out at Texas and he does the same thing again where he, is a reclamation project and he becomes another standing head coach. You can't offer him another, like, what other job is he going to take where he's not successful with the amount of resources he's had at the past 2 spots, right? As a head coach.
Well, so he's successful enough right now at Texas that he would get another job. I mean, his worst year.
Do you think he's on a mild seat right now at Texas?
I mean, if they miss the college football playoff again, I would say so.
And if they went 9-3 and just
which
missed
is what
it,
they
right?
did last year.
Yeah, right. So if they're somewhere around there,
another 9-3, I don't think gets him fired, but I do think he's going into the next season on the hot seat.
Does it matter which games that they lose?
Probably.
So if they go 9-3 with losses to, let's say, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and LSU,
Oklahoma gets him in trouble.
I think so. Yeah,
Oklahoma gets him in trouble.
Just trying to see what the other one. Let's give him another top 10 team. So say they win Oklahoma, but they lose Ole Miss, LSU, Ohio State.
If they miss the college football playoff, I don't think it matters what games he loses. Oklahoma makes it worse, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters which games he loses. I don't think he gets fired, but I do think he goes into the next season as like, hey, you better make the playoff this year.
It's a playoff or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's, weirdly enough, I think he's mostly in the same spot that Kalen DeBoer is, where it's like, hey, you pretty much have to make the playoff every year. Otherwise, things are going to get really uncomfortable around here.
But maybe nationally, it doesn't feel like, I don't feel that perception for Sark the same way as the DeBoer. Like the DeBoer has been such a national conversation. Are you just saying we're ahead of the conversation right now?
I think
that Sark's seat would get warm in that scenario.
I think two things I think here are important. A, what Alabama was before DeBoer and what Texas was before Sarkisian, right? Texas had not been nearly as successful as people thought they should be. They finally tasted some of that success with Sarkisian, so he feels like he's doing a better job. DeBoer is obviously following the greatest college football coach of all time, so that's a very different scenario. But I think they're both in the same position of being not forced to, but feeling the pressure to make the college football playoff every single year. Otherwise, things get really uncomfortable. So that's the similarity to me, is they've both found themselves, I think, in the situation of, hey, got to make the playoff every year. Otherwise, things might get ugly around here.
Yeah.
So the situations are very different, but I think the end game results are basically the same for each guy. If you miss the playoff, you're on the hot seat. Like, you can't miss the playoff 2 years in a row.
Right.
I think that's basically where both of these programs are at mentally with the amount of money and resources they're pouring into them. But DeBoer is interesting, man. Like,
it is odd that he is the 4th highest coach on that.
He overachieved so much at Fresno State and at Washington that I think that and he hasn't been that bad at Alabama. He just hasn't been Saban, right?
And if it wasn't Alabama, if it was, X, Y, or Z program, I think
say,
a lot of people would have given him maybe some more credit for that too. But technically speaking, he still has regressed, because even changing to the conference and all the other stuff combined, you play in a national title game, you have a guy who's a Heisman contender quarterback, and then you go to a new program. No matter where you went to the new program, no matter how many more shiny facilities it has, the higher level recruits, he has regressed. He has never gotten back to that same point in which he was at Washington.
I also look at it and I go, I watch Alabama play, and I think this is not nearly as buttoned up as of a team. Like, it doesn't, for whatever reason, it does not feel like he has a good grasp on this team. Like, he does not feel like he has good control over this team. You saw it last year in the bizarre loss to a bad Florida State team. And I think at the time people thought, oh, maybe Florida State's, they bounce back and they're good to go. And it's like, nope, this team is still bad.
Yep.
You just lost to a bad Florida State team. And just the discipline. I don't know how many people, I probably ended up watching like 6 Alabama games last year in their entirety. And the lack of discipline and toughness on that team is kind of wild. Like, to go so quickly from Nick Saban, which I think you would define his teams by discipline and toughness across his entire Alabama tenure, to just 2 years removed, being a place where it's like, oh, they lost that already. That's gone.
Yeah.
That, to me, is the biggest concern for Kalen DeBoer. And I would argue the biggest difference between him and Steve Sarkisian right now is the fact that Texas, for the most part, looks fairly buttoned up still. They lose some games they shouldn't, absolutely. But I don't look at that and I go, wow, there's some things here. Like, it's mostly in-game coaching decisions, things like that. Whereas with DeBoer, I go, I just don't know that this is a tougher disciplined football team. And that, to me, is pretty damning.
Well, and that all started in that first Vanderbilt loss to his first season, right? Because that very first season when they lost in Vandy, that felt like it was okay. This is just not the same Alabama in the scary Darth Vader shield that they had for so long.
And it wasn't about, oh, they're just not executing things like that. It felt like there is a clear lack of discipline and toughness. Like it's been those two things over the first 2 years. I go, man, I don't know. That's why after his first year, I go, if they don't make the playoff this year, I think he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was because of how it looked as much as the actual result. So that would be, and I'm a huge Kalen DeBoer fan. I didn't think he should take the Alabama job. I didn't think anybody should take that Alabama job because it's just a nightmare to walk into. But I also understand if you're Kalen DeBoer, you're like, hey, even if I get fired here, they have to pay me $100 million. So.
Well, and we forget that they were in an SEC championship game a year ago. If that matters to anybody, they played in the playoff and they had that crazy comeback in a quarter and a half that they, completely.
I mean, they won a college football playoff game last year.
And yet we're still talking about their standard wasn't high enough. And also, let's be clear, it's the same reason why Nebraska fans aren't super high about this season. When you lose the way that you did and you bellied up against Indiana, even with, the Ty Simpson and everything else that happened in that game, losing 38-3 in the Rose Bowl is not a good look. Yeah. Even if it is to the eventual national champion. 100%. Because you should that
you're
gap,
Alabama, you don't feel like there should be that big of a gap.
The gap should be significantly closer than what it was.
If you lose 38-31, I feel like we're having a different conversation here.
And you also shouldn't lose week 1 to Florida State. That's very bad.
That's a bad Florida State team. I can't imagine a world in which Mike Norvell has a job at Florida State next year. Like, I just don't.
Maybe he just needs to beat Alabama again. He has a chance. September 19th.
Maybe.
What if he's just the Alabama whisperer? Maybe
it was Gus Malzahn.
Gus the Alabama whisperer? That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because he was parading up and down the sideline with that.
He's the only guy in the SEC that ever had much success against Saban.
How dare you not credit Tony White?
Sure. No, it's a Gus Malzahn thing. He has a history with Alabama, and you could tell week 1 last year. He was enjoying the hell out of just
100%. Yeah. Wasn't he tweeted for the first time in 3 years or something like that?
I still know how to beat Bama. That was the Gus Malzahn of it all. But no, it was weird year for Alabama, really it was. And so I think basically Kalen DeBoer is constantly on the hot seat moving forward.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, about the college football coaching carousel trickle effect and how that could happen.
Yeah.
If Alabama opened up, that is one of those that you start to look at, okay, who would take that job? I still don't see it as significant as the projection that we parlayed of Ryan Day was fired from Ohio State before they won the national championship.
Sure.
Because I just don't think that I don't think that the Alabama job is going to be as significant as significantly wanted, I should say, and people wanting to clamor and try to climb for that one too.
I don't know, man. I think I think Alabama would be a more coveted job at this point than Ohio State, because unless Ryan Day the wheels fell off, if he just had one bad year and got fired, I think you're in a position where coaches don't want that job. Right?
Why would they want DeBoer's old job then?
Because
that'd be the same thing.
Now you have the separation of he's clearly fallen off from where the program was. Ryan Day hasn't. We just listened to Adam talk about it. He elevated an already really good Ohio State program. So if he has a 9-3 and gets fired for that, I don't think there's any coach in the country that's oh yeah, I want to jump into that mess. Right? Whereas Kalen DeBoer has clearly, the standard has fallen at Alabama, and you no longer have to follow Saban. That is an incredibly appealing position to be in. And also, again, I think that is a Curt Cignetti 100%. That's all.
But see, that then again, to the same point that I'm making, that if that's the case, if Cignetti goes there, it's not like Indiana is going to be this hotbed of coaches clamoring to get to Indiana.
Yes, I understand that.
But maybe people are like, oh yeah, no, that's a great NIL bed. They've got the great alumni base. We've seen what the peak of it can go. But do you want to follow Curt Cignetti? It's like the reverse in Alabama, right?
I mean, you may not have the same trickle effect, but I do think more coaches would want the Alabama job in this situation. I just don't know what the trickle effect would be afterward.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State, if you fire Ryan Day for whatever reason after what they've just experienced here, and it's not like a scandal or something like that. Now, if Ryan Day moves on to the NFL, let's use that scenario instead of getting fired.
Yes.
Then Ohio State could just set off a shitstorm in college football. If Ryan Day is like, you know what? Mike McCarthy sucks. I'm going to go be the Steelers' new head coach. Then we're having a whole different conversation because Ohio State might be one of the most, it is. I'm trying to think which jobs I think are definitely better than Ohio State. And I don't for sure think there's any job that's definitely better than Ohio State in the country.
Yeah.
And so,
Notre Dame, you're basically guaranteed to go to the playoff.
Yeah, if you go 10-2, you're in the playoff at Notre Dame. Correct.
How many schools like Ohio State that you're mentioning, and obviously Alabama did it, how many schools can take a sitting Power 4 head coach? Because that's what Ohio State could do.
There's a lot more than I think you think.
Yeah, I mean, LSU just did it with Kiffin and did it before with Brian
Kiffin
Kelly.
doesn't count.
Right, what they did with Brian
Kiffin doesn't count?
They did it with
Kiffin
Brian
goes
Kelly.
everywhere.
They did it with Brian Kelly right before that. They've done it twice in a row.
Are you talking about just all programs across college football? How many could hire a
I just
sitting
meant like
Power
the
4
power,
coach?
like the one, like
I mean,
obviously you said LSU took Ole Miss. Ohio State could take anybody. Alabama was trying to, and then
Well, they
ended up
took
with
DeBoer.
Washington. Yeah, but like they allegedly struck out on like 5 people before DeBoer.
Yeah, just 2, but it's okay. There's Norvell and Sarkisian.
I know.
That's not 5. That's 2.
It seemed like a lot. Well, no, because Kiffin was on, quote unquote, was on the list because
I think he was. I think he was after.
I mean, if you look at the top teams or top programs, I should say, that are on both sides of the major conferences and the Big Ten and SEC, I think you could find a cutoff point. And I'm trying to digress in my head if Nebraska's at that point yet, because in their last cycle of hiring a head coach, they were naming coordinators and they were naming. Obviously, a fired NFL head coach is who they went with. But then there was also a couple of other big names that were also attached to them. They just chose not to hire that. So it's hard to determine where that level is.
Also, like, not all power conferences are created equally, right? Like, Leipold and Kleiman were in those conversations. They're power conference coaches, but you don't think of them as like stealing Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss, right? Like
exactly.
that's a different level of conversation.
If Alabama's job becomes open and Dan Lanning takes it, that's more the scenario you're trying to take.
Yeah,
and like who Oregon would hire after.
Yeah, like the top, not even top 20, like the top 15 or whatever, like coaches, top 10 coaches, like what schools can go to an Oregon and a Dan Lanning and be like, hey, I know that one's like tough because Oregon's, up there, but like can go to a school like that and be like, hey, we're taking your head coach and there's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, we saw that just happen at USC with Lincoln Riley. We obviously LSU is in that group. I do think Texas is in that group, even though that's not the route they've gone.
Alabama's in that group.
Alabama's in that group.
Ohio State, Michigan just did it.
Michigan was weird though, because they didn't really.
They lucked into it. Yes,
yeah, because he was resigning.
Yeah.
Like he had resigned.
Also, remember that whole transition of power was because that's what Harbaugh wanted it to do. They wanted to keep the Michigan men and that sort of stuff.
But
too.
also Harbaugh.
Someone has to stay in the wreckage, brother.
They expect someone in the wreckage.
Obviously that's Bane.
Yes.
I don't remember the part. So.
Okay, yeah. That was
in the
beginning.
opening scene with
the airplane.
plane.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Michigan's weird though because Harbaugh was a fired NFL head coach.
Yep.
He was
a Michigan man.
Right. So there's that
former quarterback.
There's the other part of this where like Miami hired Cristobal from Oregon, but if Miami doesn't have Cristobal or Cristobal doesn't have Miami ties, they don't get Oregon's head coach. Right. So there's that part of the equation as well, where I think you almost have to discount that in this conversation when there's clear ties to a program. Like,
and also to be completely fair, the conversation that we're having right now and basing it off of former head coaching hires is completely different than where we were 4 years ago to where we are now, because people's NIL is wildly different than what it was.
Yeah.
And people just, signing a little bit of deals and some people making this amount of money. Now the money that's being floated around, you are probably more apt to try to move up to some of these programs rather than staying at your school. Like loyalty is a lot harder because you could build it back in the day, but now it's not going to be that case.
I do think it's a good point that the resource gap is way more important now than it used
100%,
to be. Right.
Yeah.
You're not just talking about like, well, it's hard to recruit because my facilities aren't as nice. It's like, I can't afford this roster. Right. You're talking about.
You're also talking about just the headache of, hey, if I have a great team, there's a good chance that most of them are heading out. Yes.
So that's a huge factor here. But I mean, we saw it with Michigan. Michigan's a weird because Michigan almost exclusively has hired Michigan men outside of like Rich Rod.
Brady Hoke.
Hoke was a Michigan man, but he was San Diego State. He wasn't a power conference guy. Harbaugh was fired. Moore was an assistant. And then Whittingham was unemployed.
Well, actually, you know what, Rico? Your answer to this is the Penn State coaching search. They struggled for so long to find anyone that would be able to fill that gap. And I don't doubt that
they did get a power conference coach.
They got a power conference coach at the end, but how many calls did they put out? How many feelers did they try to get? And yeah, they can try to claim that it was trying to find the right person, all that other stuff. Well, you don't find the right person.
A bunch of people said no.
Yeah.
A bunch of people
100%. That's a falling into it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, how many of those schools can be like their first call? It's like, oh, we're going to take your coach and he's coming here. There's nothing you like.
If you're talking about a program calls you and offers you a job, how many coaches like say no to you? There's 4. I mean, there's Ohio State, there's Notre Dame, I would put Alabama probably up there.
Although Alabama did get turned down twice before they got their guy.
And then you can take your pick on the 4th if you want to say maybe Georgia. You can say Oregon. You could say one of those two,
Texas.
Just depending on your value of the wherever you determine you want to go.
I bet Georgia
the Alabama one for me is hard though, because it's one of those you don't want to be the guy to follow the guy.
Yeah, you don't.
So it's like everybody's just like Nick Saban just left. And those guys in any regular time would have been like, yeah, totally. But like,
listen. I think I think that's a dumb argument. Like, I'll just say it out front. Like,
Kalen DeBoer, he's winning 8-9 games.
I understand what you're saying, but if you're offering me $20 million a year to coach, and I have to coach, opposite or right after the greatest college football coach of all time, $20 million is going to cover up a lot of my tears if I lose 6 games. Okay, that's not going to be an issue for me. Like, we're talking about like a completely different type of generational money than I could have made at any other level of college football. I'm going to the highest program that's going to offer me the most money to win the most games. And yes, the pressure will be high. Yes, all that other sort of stuff. But there's a reason that they pay you that amount of money, is to be able to go there. And whether you perform or not, you're going to end up with that money anyway.
I also think that's why Kalen DeBoer took the job.
100%.
Like, I think that's what, like I've said this before. I said this when he took the job because I didn't want him to take it because I thought it was a really bad spot and a bad fit. Maybe he just said, hey, if I get fired here, I'm definitely getting another job still.
Yeah.
And I'll be $100 million richer.
Ain't nobody ever been sat on a jet ski, right? Like, that's the truth. Doesn't matter if it's in Tuscaloosa or if it's in Washington. Like, it doesn't matter where it is.
Like, Jimbo's doing fine, you know, with his $86 million from Texas A&M.
Brian Kelly, I mean, he's living life in the Mountain West, doing his calling games thing.
I would say, yeah, he's going to be calling Mountain West games, apparently. Let's take a quick break here. That's Austin. I'm Ravi.
On the call for a North Dakota State game is going to be wild.
On a scissor lift.
I can't wait.
We want him.
I can't. Never again. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next. Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, they've worked really hard, but the true test will be what we do in the games, right? No one. Worst things we hear a coach say, "Hey, we practice really well," and then you get beat, badly. So I mean, at the end of the day, this is a production, performance-based business. So they work really hard. They are extremely detailed. trying to learn a new way of doing things, because every team is new, every season is new, and certainly every head coach you work for and every university you're at's new. So I've been very pleased with them, been very pleased with the staff. But to me, it's how you handle the season, how you handle game planning, how you handle the rigors of being here, the travel, the weather, all those things, like who could be the same guy every day. And so far so good, but a lot remains to be seen.
Was that fourth set of the Nebraska Texas A&M match one of the best sets you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I've seen a lot of great sets.
Yeah.
But that's right there at the top, and it was agony.
I know.
But I mean, it was, you're like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just two great teams going at it, and that's what's so great about this sport.
Where were you watching it?
I was in my house.
You were in your home. Yeah. You didn't
I was thinking about coming but I would be so nervous. I couldn't sit there. I mean, I'm like, I wanted to go, and they asked me to come and do some radio stuff, and I just said, no, I can't sit through a regional. The regional is the most stressful weekend of the year.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Appreciate you joining us today. We've got...
and good morning to the podcast listeners, by the way.
You know what? We forgot to welcome in the podcast listeners.
We've been bad about that. Sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
I apologize. We have not been bad about reminding you to go see our friends over at Union Omaha. UnionOmaha.com is where you get tickets. They have another match coming up at home on Saturday, August 29th. It's the Hometown Heroes Night presented by Woodman Life, 7 p.m. at Morrison Stadium against the New York Cosmos. There you go. Big Cosmos guy.
Fan of the drink?
No, not really. Not so much. But I am a big
for
fan
me.
of Union Omaha. Go get your ticket, UnionOmaha.com for Saturday's match. Speaking of Saturday. Got college football on Saturday.
And high school football, but that's fine.
We have high school football on Saturday, too?
I told you, it's the Amen Classic.
Oh, that's right.
Saturday.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know that was 2 hours ago. How could you possibly remember?
I could not. Listen, you know this now that you've started doing this more.
The things that you say in the morning.
The things that you forget by the time the show is over is astronomically high.
When we saw people at the Chick and Nick show last week, and they were like, oh, that was so funny this morning. I couldn't tell you.
I was like, thank you for that. Could
Appreciate
you please
that.
be more specific?
Yep.
It's like when you see somebody you should know their name, and you're like, please,
just the worst.
You're like, please, dear God, somebody say their name out loud because I don't know. I know I should know this person, but the name is gone.
Yeah.
It's like, please give me some more context on the thing that you listened to today because I have no idea what I said.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, a lot of people will hit me with Jacob because my last name is obviously Jacobsen. And so they're, okay, no problem, Jacob. We'll talk to you later. That hurts a little bit, just a touch. But it's fine. It's fine.
Not great.
We do have college football this weekend.
We have college football. What are you looking forward to the most about college football season?
I love the Ireland Classic, personally. No? Okay, fair. The college football season in general?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
The Ireland Classic is great.
It is.
It's going to be another good one.
We had a great Farmageddon last year with it.
We did have a good Farmageddon. Yeah. We did a good Farmageddon.
North Carolina TCU is going to be a good one.
Is it?
Are they going to leave Bill Belichick in Ireland?
No, that's going to be
There's a chance.
Listen, the NC State Virginia game is,
that's a legitimately good game.
That actually piques my interest quite a bit.
Matt R says, "Good show, Jacob."
Damn it.
I'm looking forward to Jacksonville State and North Dakota State.
God, what am I looking for? So, are you talking like a theme, theme for the year?
Anything that you're just, if we love college football, we're starting to get, jazzed up about the season. It's right in front of us.
So generally speaking, I'll start 30,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to see where our.
we have games on Thursday.
I know. I want to know what
when
we get to the end of the season. I want to know how far the margins are between where we believe like college football contenders are. Does that make sense? Because I feel like this past year, when we wrapped up, we had Miami make a long run in the college football playoff, and I don't think a lot of people said that they would be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they played a barn burner against A&M in that very first game. Indiana ransacked a couple of people to start and then had their window tighten up a little bit. They had to play some good games near the end, especially in the championship game, to end up with a victory there. But I'm curious to find out if, Indiana reloading still puts them kind of in that top tier. If we enter into the playoff and we say, you know what, all these teams actually legitimately have a chance. Because, with the group of 5 teams that made it last year, that was just not part of the conversation, right? But
just kidding. We don't have Thursday games. I was reading the schedule.
Yeah, see, come on.
I'm an idiot. I apologize.
But yeah, I apologize. But yeah, I guess as an overall theme, I'm just curious as to if the contender list is wider than we thought, if it's closer to 16 or 20 teams,
sure. Okay.
or if that gap is shrinking, and we just say what the presumed college football narrative has been, that the NIL, the renovations, and all the other stuff that go into people getting more and more money towards their programs, if that shrinks the model down where it's like, hey, listen, there's really only 6 or 7 teams that are going to be able to win this year's championship. If there's only that many contenders in college football.
I want you to try and remove knowing how it ended from your brain.
Okay.
I want you to go back. I'm going to read you off the teams in last year's college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Try and remove yourself from actual results. And you tell me how many of these teams you thought could actually win the national title, okay?
Starting first round of the playoffs?
Yes, we'll start with all 12.
Okay.
James Madison?
No.
Oregon?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 1. Texas Tech?
Yes.
Okay. Alabama?
No.
Oklahoma?
No.
Indiana?
Yes.
Tulane?
No.
Ole Miss?
Yes.
Okay. Georgia?
Yes.
Miami?
I didn't think at the time.
Going
no.
into it.
Yeah,
So
I didn't think at the time, no.
A&M?
I didn't think at the time, no.
And Ohio State?
Yes.
So 6.
Yeah.
Then we had 7 with Miami, who ended up obviously making the
Mhm.
final, and that being a very close game. The one I didn't think Texas Tech could with their offensive situation.
I remember at the time thinking that their defense was just phenomenal, and they played that way in
And
the Oregon. They played that way in the Oregon
but they
game.
could not score.
They just
Literally could not
score.
score. Literally could not score.
Well,
I also
luckily they got Brendan Sorsby, so that's great for them.
wait a second.
Hold on.
He doesn't get to play.
What did he do? What happened?
There was a lot of gambling.
Oh.
And
Tough.
so I also would have put Ole Miss in that group. I know by the time they beat Georgia, I was like, oh, maybe this is real.
Right.
But going into it, I didn't think Ole Miss could win it. I
Right.
think they could have won it if they had beaten Miami. That's by 4 to Miami. Miami obviously played close with Indiana. So I ended up thinking they could have, but going in, I didn't think they were in that category.
Okay, so let's play that same scenario. I'm just going to go AP top 25 right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to go one till, how about this? You tell me where to stop, where the contenders go, just for preseason.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Ohio State?
Yes.
Oregon?
Yes.
Georgia?
Yes.
Notre Dame?
Yes.
Texas?
Yes.
Indiana?
Yes.
Miami? Oh, that's a long pause.
I'm going to say no.
Okay. So we're going to say the cut is again at 6.
Well, but keep going because I think there's
Okay.
teams after them that could win.
A&M?
No.
Yeah, I don't think that. I'm surprised that took you that long. Ole Miss?
If Chambliss is this guy again, yes.
He's got to win the Heisman. He legitimately has to be
Yeah,
first team
no,
All-American.
if he has the season he did last year, then yes.
Yes. Oklahoma?
I think if they get good material, yes.
Okay. LSU?
Yes.
Texas Tech?
No.
Alabama?
No.
I mean, that's your cut if you're going back-to-back no's, right?
Well,
do you feel BYU, USC, Michigan?
I actually do think USC is in the neighborhood.
I kind of agree with USC, I think, but...
And I think
yeah.
Michigan is like the fringe. Michigan is probably my cut.
Michigan, Washington, Penn State is that next tier.
Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan is my cut line.
Yeah, I don't think Washington, Penn State,
no.
SMU, Tennessee, Utah, Iowa, like
no.
Would
Michigan's my cut line.
So okay, never mind. Yep. Okay, yeah.
I'd be surprised if Michigan or USC won, but I see a version of that happening.
Mhm.
Like if the young talent for USC is ready, because I do think they have the talent, and Jaden Maeva kind of takes that one extra step, I think USC is very much in this. Michigan, if I know the talent's there, and if Kyle Whittingham is as good of a coach as I believe he is, and has he shown his entire career, the question is, can he get a Devin Dampier performance out of Bryce Underwood? And if the answer there is yes, then they're very much in that picture as well.
I wish I could. I'm going to see if I can go look up last year's preseason AP top 25.
So Michigan would be my cut line there.
Okay.
So that put me at like 11?
Yeah, that's like
10, 11?
With the amount of teams that you have, yes. But then at the AP top 25 cut line, it was like 16.
Yes. Yeah. So I think there's a couple teams in there I just don't think can do it. But there's also going to be a couple teams in there probably that make the playoff at the end of the year that I'm like, that's not
right.
Whether it's a James Madison or Tulane or whoever, you're just like, that's not going to be it.
See, that's the tough part is that the group of 5 is way more open this year than I remember it being.
Yeah.
It feels like we're going to get the emerging team, but there's not a lot of teams that you're kind of riding in right now or have had success that you can point at or look at their roster and just say, hey, this is a team that I feel very comfortable.
I don't know what their transition is going to be like, but how incredible would it be if it's North Dakota State?
I mean, pretty incredible. Because they haven't played that many.
I mean, it's their first year in FBS.
I don't want to say like that many quality opponents, but yeah, I mean, like
they get like one a year.
It is a definite step up, yes.
And
now some would argue that the hardest game is actually just playing South Dakota State, like legitimately.
Yeah.
So,
and especially now that a lot of teams are actively avoiding those two when putting like nobody wants to play those guys and take a loss, and they know it's very possible.
So I know that this is a little bit harder because we don't know just in general, like the group of 5 schools as well. But North Dakota State is better than Fordham.
Yeah.
The Air Force game is very interesting because Air Force is going to, throw a bunch at you. And it's also in Colorado, which, I mean, technically for North Dakota State is, I guess, lighter travel for them.
Yeah.
They should beat Sacramento State.
Although
they're probably a better roster than Wyoming.
I don't know.
Host the game.
I don't know what to do with Sacramento State.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like, that's a weird team. Like, I don't know what to do with them.
But then again, like, they're going to play on the road at UNLV. They host Nevada. They're at New Mexico. They should. UTEP is interesting.
New Mexico is going to be interesting.
They play at Hawaii.
New Mexico is going to be really interesting.
Right. They play at home against Northern Illinois, and then they wrap up the season at San Jose State.
Like, if you told me they were...
How do they win the Mountain West?
If you told me they were 10-2, I wouldn't be stunned. Just off the rip.
Yeah.
If you told me they were 10... Because that's not a crazy first FBS schedule.
Well, and also for group of 5, 10-2, it might get you there.
Maybe. I don't know what the cut's going to be for the. I mean, usually it's an undefeated team, right?
Yes.
But if
more often than not.
But if you're looking at like, hey, we don't love any of these teams out there. I also don't know what to do with the new.
But also, there's no marquee victory on here. There's not one that they could say, hey, we beat X, Y, or Z, and that proves that we deserve to be up here. I also
don't know what to do with the new Pac-12.
Oh yeah.
Or Pac whatever. I think there's only 8 teams in there. But
I think there's still
it's not a real Pac-12.
There's not 12 in there, is there?
No,
they got to like 8
8
teams, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they were struggling to find the 8th to reform the conference because that's what you need.
Can you imagine going from Fargo, North Dakota to Hawaii on November 14th?
Sounds great to me. Sounds excellent.
There might be some distractions on that trip.
A little bit. Just a few.
And then having to come back.
Go back to Fargo, North
Truly,
Dakota.
Hawaii should never lose a home game. They can throw every distraction possible at a team.
I'd just be like, as soon as they get off the plane, you give them the Lays, you just set up a whole buffet for them, just get them fat and happy.
Yeah. I would just serve them mimosas the entire time, except for the underage people, obviously.
Luau's, pig roast.
Yes.
Let's do the whole thing.
Coach shows up to the game just hungover. He's like, what has happened?
It's a great idea.
He does the old school, like the teacher thing where he's like, hey, it's walk through, but we're just going to watch a movie today.
He's just like, Lubbock.
North Dakota State will be running Lubbock quite a bit.
Lubbock, guys. We got to Lubbock. We got to.
Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Gonzaga, Oregon State, San Diego State, Texas State, Utah State, Washington State. They should just name this.
Gonzaga's not for football, right?
No.
Yeah.
They should just rename this to State 12 because that's
a lot of states.
Yeah, a lot of states.
A lot of states. That's not a good conference.
It will be. One day.
It'll be a good conference to watch, though.
Boise State is the interesting one there for this year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, naturally.
I mean, Boise State's interesting. I don't know who else.
I need to do some more group of 5 homework.
Yeah, I do. I need to dive into the group of 5.
I wanted to ask Adam a little bit more about that, but truthfully, it was just one of those that I don't know if we're going to be that surprised by group of 5. Like, will it just end up being UNLV? Then we're just,
I very well might be. Yeah. I mean,
that's more name brand than anything, I suppose. But
and honestly, with the way that Dan Mullen's been last chance Ewing that situation, like they're going to have the talent on the roster. if he can get them to gel like they did last year and without the GOAT Anthony Calandria, then I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, geez, Penn State was number 2 last year in preseason.
Remember that? Remember?
Texas was 1, Penn State, Ohio State. Oh, Clemson was 4.
Hold on. Okay, let's go through these teams that did not make college football. Texas,
Penn State, Clemson.
Ohio State made it, right? So
yep.
that's one out of the top
Notre
4.
Dame.
Notre Dame did not make it. So 4 of the top 5 didn't make it.
LSU
didn't make it. 5 of the top 6.
5 of the top 10. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. You're not going in order.
Sorry. Okay. So we'll start at the top. So
That's not
Texas,
confusing
Penn
at all.
State, Ohio State. So I'm starting. I was siphoning them. My bad. I'm starting back at the top. Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, Miami. Top 10.
So 5 of the top 10 did not make it.
Arizona State was 11. Illinois was 12. South Carolina was 13. Jeez, what are we doing? What are we doing?
We were pretty high on that Lenore Sellers.
He's back. Michigan was 14. Florida was 15. SMU was 16. Kansas State was 17. Oklahoma 18. A&M was 19. Indiana was 20. That looks silly.
Yeah, in retrospect, 20 might be a bit low for the Hoosiers.
We didn't know. Yeah, we didn't know. That's on us. Our bad. That's on us.
I'm just saying, beginning of last year, South Carolina over Indiana all day.
South Carolina.
South what?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
I don't know.
I was a South Carolina head coach last year in NCAA 25.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Sorry.
Your accent came out there?
Yeah.
Speaking of South Carolina and Lenore Sellers, I do want to go over some of the SEC quarterbacks tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And go through that
the
list.
Tiers. Yep.
Because I'd like to kind of use the structure we used with the Big Ten. And the tiers won't be exact fits because we made those kind of specifically for those guys. But I do think there's some similarities in kind of sure things, transfers in, young guns, veterans with something to prove. Like, I think there's a structure there that I want to go through the SEC quarterbacks with as well.
Do we still have Iowa quarterbacks as the last spot?
Maybe who would be the
Kenny Minchie out of hate
Kentucky quarterback?
100%. Do you guys want to make your own tiers? Send them to me and I can put something together.
No.
The silence was deafening.
No,
I just thought I'd ask.
No, I think it might work better if we do it live. Honestly,
we're doing it live.
I mean, maybe we could make tiers. We can make tiers.
No, do what you want.
No, I got nothing better to do today. You're right. You're right. I'll just make some tiers.
Rico's gonna make some tiers if we keep being mean to him.
That wasn't me. That. Listen, you want to do live programming? That was my thought. That was call and response. I don't know what you want.
Trying to produce some stuff. Trying to. Make
I just read how Rico finally decides he's like, yeah, I want to actually work on something outside the show, and he's just
Austin's like no.
Last time we just did it off the riff, and it looked like we just word vomited the entire time.
Fine, then do it.
Okay, listen, we'll try to come up with some tiers.
You can make some tiers.
How about this?
It's your show. You do it.
We'll send it to you tonight at 10:00, and we expect it to be ready, turned around and ready at 7.
And
I hate you. And we're gonna do it at 7:10 right away,
right off the rip.
I'll walk in. I'll be like, all right, so you guys are just going to mess around for an hour, so I have some time to make these. You're like, no, we're going into it. Well, you're doing it live.
It's Tuesday. We all know Rico's not coming to work anyway.
That's true.
You think I'm
holding a baby
when I'm working from home?
No, I'm aware you are not.
That's rude. Of course I am.
You're usually making breakfast in the middle of the show. That's what you always say.
Every time you turn a mic on, I just hear children screaming. So
That's just the first hour because Rachel's got it and going to take them to school, and they're getting ready. Miles is just
so you're working from home and you send your kids out the house. It's kind of rude.
Well, they have to go to school. 2 of them do.
Not the one who's one.
Yeah, but he's in daycare, and we're already paying for the week.
So you're just taking a daycation every time you work from home?
No, I'm working.
Well,
are you?
I work till around 2:00, and then I clean the house.
You're not even going to make our quarterback tier list. I mean, seriously, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing till 2:00, man?
I'm putting the commercials together. I'm working.
Rico, you do a lot of stuff. You do a lot of stuff. Yes.
I like this. I like this. I'm working. I'm working.
I'm putting clips together. Oh no, man.
Matt R says, "Be nice, Jacob."
That was nice. I thought that was nice.
We weren't being nice.
I was.
No, you weren't.
Rico, was I being mean?
A little bit.
I'm sorry, Rico. We'll restart and start again tomorrow.
You're not.
I am. I'm trying to be nice to Rico week.
Rico's crocodile tears are, flooding the river over here.
Like my
coordinator, is Shane okay? Here's the answer.
Yeah, I'm okay.
He's okay. Play the music. Get out of here. I hate these guys. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We'll be back tomorrow on Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.